I became friends with the second cutest girl in my class. Volume 1 Fan Translation Editing EPUB DAG Proofreading Yuki Typesetting Indie Accuracy Checker L Mao Bronze TL Website Second Cutest Discord Second Cutest Novel Updates Page. Please support the author by buying the raws or official translation if it gets licensed. If you can, please do not upload my translations to any website, especially for profit ones. Do not reprint or resell my volumes or upload with Ko-fi/other donator links. My operation is solely non-profit. Feedback is always welcome, so feel free to join the Bronze TL Discord server and post it in the feedback or Second Cutest channel. Note: I may edit, change, or update my translations even after I finished the volume, so if you did not get this translated volume from my website, you may have an outdated version. Prologue: I've never been a fan of spring. I'm not talking about the weather. I love the typical scenes of spring, the warm sunlight gently touching my cheeks, the gentle breeze, the view of cherry blossoms along the river from my balcony, and the streets carpeted in pink petals. I probably hate the cold more than most people, so in that sense, I even look forward to this warmer season. So then what exactly is my problem with spring? Arg, oh no, I overslept. Why didn't you wake me up? I asked you to make sure I was up by 7. I did try to wake you up. You even said, "It'll be okay." Didn't you, Mom? You shouldn't trust me when I'm drowsy. It'll be fine. It's like what they say on those dubious home remedies. No way. Well, maybe. So what do you want for breakfast? Just coffee, please. Got it. With lightning speed, I serve a cup of hot coffee to my mother Masaki as she hurriedly prepares for work. I've decided to take on the responsibility of making breakfast every morning to make sure my busy mother gets as much sleep as possible. Mackie, how's your high school uniform feel? Don't know what to tell you. If you mean how comfortable it is, then it's normal. Just normal. You always give such half-hearted answers. I mean, it's just a choice between a school uniform and a blazer anyway. While my mother had been sleeping blissfully, I had already finished putting on my light gray blazer. I'd transferred schools a lot due to my parents' work, so ever since junior high I'd always worn a school uniform. So, wearing a tie after a long time feels a bit uncomfortable around my neck. No, it's a uniform, so I guess it's just how it is. What's with the hesitation? If it doesn't suit me, just tell it to me straight. It's a bit too big for you right now, Mackie, that's all. I'm sure you'll grow into it perfectly next year, or the one after. When they measured my height at the uniform fitting, I'd shrunk by 1 millimeter compared to last year. I don't want to believe I'm an early bloomer when I haven't grown much at all, but if this happens again next year, I'll have no choice but to face it. Well, don't worry, I'm sure it'll be fine. You're my son after all. That's not very comforting, is it? What makes you so sure? Well, maybe it wouldn't hurt to start thinking about getting the uniform sleeves and pants hemmed, just in case. Well then, Mom's off now. Have a good day. Same old work today, business as usual. My mom works at a small publishing company located about 30 minutes away by train from the nearest station. She often returns home late at night, and during busy periods, she frequently stays overnight at the office. I worry about her health, but given our current living situation, we can't afford to prioritize health over financial stability. Hey, Mackie, my mom muttered softly under her breath as I walked over to see her off. But I hope you make some friends. It's not like I can't manage even if I don't make any. Oh my, aren't you putting on a brave face? Deep down, you're actually quite lonely, aren't you? Geez, you're annoying. Enough about me. Come on, hurry up and go. Oh, all right, well then, I'll go earn my keep for today. Good plan. All right, see you later. All right, I'm off. After seeing my mom's usual hurried departure down the hallway, I started cleaning up the kitchen. Having friends, well, I'm not opposed to the idea of friends, but it's springtime. April, beyond the parting season of early spring, which marks the start of a new fiscal and academic year, comes a month filled with new encounters. I've always been particularly bad at dealing with that sort of springtime stuff. After the entrance ceremony, it was time for my first homeroom class. If I wanted to make the most of my high school life, making a good impression here was crucial. And when it comes to meeting my peers for the first time, there's one thing you have to do. Umesh, hello everyone. Sensei, what's up with you stumbling over your words when it matters most? Seriously, the teasing helped diffuse the tense atmosphere, especially considering this was the first meeting between the students and Sensei. Sorry, everyone. It's my first time being a homeroom teacher, so I got a bit nervous. My name is Sakimeki Yajisawa. I'll be with you all for the next year. Phew, I said it. I feel sorry for Sensei Tilder. I was a bit worried about her as a homeroom teacher, but thanks to her embarrassing herself first, the mood in the classroom lightened considerably. From my understanding, it was her first time acting as a homeroom sensei, as she had only been an assistant homeroom sensei before. Understanding this, it made sense why things felt a bit awkward. Well, I'll end my introduction here for now. I'd be happy to learn more about everyone next. It's cliché, but let's have a self-introduction session for the rest of class. Here it comes. The unpleasant experience that always comes with the start of a new school year. Even though I consider myself a veteran of self-introductions, I always end up feeling nervous every single time. It's an unavoidable event where everyone's focus is on you. First off, I'm thinking of going in attendance number order, but before that, is there anyone here who would like to go first? Yajisawa-sensei raised her hand and glanced around the whole class, but everyone, including myself, subtly avoided eye contact, not wanting to become the target. Yeah, I figured as much. That's why I made this okay. Please take one each and pass the rest to the person behind you. Sensei took out a piece of paper about the size of a large business card from the envelope clipped to the class roster. Oh, it's one of these. The moment I saw the piece of paper being passed out from the front, I felt a slight heaviness in my chest. Self-introduction card name, hometown. Hobbies/special skills, things you like, food, people, etc. A message to everyone in the class. Everyone will fill out the sections of the card, then I'll collect them and randomly draw one. Based on the contents of the card, I'll ask various questions and everyone else will answer. Sound good? It's a desperate plan I came up with after thinking about how to kill time during the first homeroom. Leaving aside any unnecessary comments from Sensei, while it's fair to have uniformity in the questions, it can be a bit tough for people like me who tend to be in IMAX nice to meet you camp. Choosing things like hobbies or things you like can be a bit tricky, can't it? But you can't really leave it blank either. So, while praying for a safe and easy outcome, I'll go ahead and fill in all the questions for now. Well, considering the number of students in the class, each person will probably only take about 2 minutes or so hopefully they won't delve too deeply into each person's answers. Then, if my turn comes around towards the latter part when Sensei and everyone's concentration starts to wane, hopefully I can just fly under the radar. Yes, all right, so our glorious first batter is Miharu-san. Why did it have to be me? Miharu-san, where are you? Here. I've never drawn the short straw like this before, but already the start of high school life seems uncertain and worrisome. By the way, during my self-introduction, I was so nervous that I barely remember what happened. Well, one thing's for sure, it was definitely a textbook fuck-up. Being someone who doesn't even have acquaintances, let alone friends, in the class, being the first to go was certainly a tall order for me. After clumsily fulfilling my role as the first batter and spectacularly striking out, I absent-mindedly watched as my classmates went through their self-introductions. The mood in the room was relaxed and self-introductions went smoothly after that, probably because they thought, at least I'm not as bad as that guy. For your information, the contents I wrote on the self-introduction card are as follows. Name, Maki Mihara, hometown, Matsuhara Junior High, hobbies/special skills, games, etc. Things you like, food, people, etc. Nothing in particular, a message to everyone in the class. Nice to meet you. Well, now that I think about it, I can understand why Sensei might have felt like making a comment. With the first person going like that, it's no wonder the homeroom period ended much sooner than planned. As far as I can remember, the exchange with Sensei went something like this. Mihara-kun, Matsuhara Junior High School, where's that? It's not in this area's school district, is it? It's in the next prefecture over. I moved here in the winter of my 3rd year of junior high. Well, it's because of family circumstances. Oh, I see. Well, your hobbies and special skills are listed as games. I guess that's fine. I know games like village building ones are popular lately, and under favorites it says none in particulars. They're nothing you look forward to, like on weekends. Well, if I had to say one thing, no, there we go. Give me something. So what is it? Well, on Fridays my mom works, so I'm home alone, so I guess I order pizza or something for delivery, drink cola, and just lounge around playing games on the big TV in the living room or watch videos on my computer. Anything else? Well, I guess movies rate. What kind of movies do you watch? Shark movies, crocodile movies, and I especially like those so-called B movies too, I guess, if I had to say. Oh, sharks and crocodiles. How? I felt reluctant to exaggerate or tell lies, so I'd answered honestly, but now I wonder if I was too naive in doing so. Perhaps I delved too deeply into the niche aspects of the movie. Anyway, after that, it seems like my position in class is more or less determined. However, being someone who tends to isolate myself, even if I hadn't completely shit the bed, the outcome might not have changed. Then, next is Amami-san. Here, with about 10 people left, a loud and cheerful voice echoed through the classroom. A beautiful girl with flowing golden hair that swayed gently and eyes filled with a marine blue sparkle. The eyes of the entire class, no, mainly the boys, were glued to her beauty. Naturally, I was among those captivated, but in comparison to those around me, her striking appearance stood out distinctly. To me it felt like she wasn't even real, like she'd stepped out of a fairy tale or something. I'm Amami, you with Arma from Amaterasu 3 and Mai from Yumi, and you from you Garter. Sensei and everyone in the class, please take care of me for the next year. Yeah, likewise, your hair is so beautiful it almost makes me jealous. But is it okay if I ask about that? Of course. My grandmother is a foreigner, and people often say I look just like her when she was young. So that's the reason. I've moved around several schools since I was a child, but she's the first person I've encountered who stands out so much. The junior high you came from was Takabarner girls, wasn't this school not pretty much an escalator system for? Yeah, that's true. But since there are only girls around, I thought it might be better to go to a co-ed high school, right, Yumi? Don't suddenly put me on the spot like that. Just then, Amami-san called out to the girl sitting in the front row. She looked slightly tomboyish, with short hair. From where I'm seated, I can only catch a glimpse of her profile, but I imagine she has well-defined features and a beautiful face. If not for Amami-san, she would have definitely become our class idol. Hey, isn't our class pretty high level? Yeah, maybe we're lucky after all. People were saying things like that. Hey, Yumi, come on, since we're at it, why not introduce yourself now? Is that okay, Sensei? Yeah, we're a bit pressed for time, so could we? Sure, go ahead. Asanagi-san. You're so casual. Well, whatever. Asanagi-san sighed but still stood up politely. She was slender and on the taller side for a girl. Taller than me. Anyway, though I was on the shorter side, it sucks. I'm Asanagi Yumi. I went to the same junior high with everyone here. Honestly, I'm tired of being in the same class even in high school. I'm exhausted. So please take care of me, everyone. Hey, Yumi, isn't that a bit harsh? That makes me seem like a stray dog, does it? Well then, how about is docile? Doesn't bite. That's totally a dog. It's not even like anymore. Laughter erupted from the entire class at their exchange. Just hearing them talk, you might think there's some tension between them. But watching them have fun, you can tell that's just how they always are. Based on that little interaction just now, I guessed those two would become the center of attention of the class over the next year. Well, it's a conversation that doesn't really concern me anyway. And so, as expected, I ended up being left out of class, and for the next few months of high school life, I continued to be a loner. That's despite being in a situation where new groups usually form in just a month or so. I know it sounds pretty bleak. A monotonous routine of commuting between school and home, spending entire weekends cooped up at home. I'm used to being alone. But it's not like I particularly enjoy it either. Even after school, I used to fantasize about hanging out with friends in the classroom, having silly conversations, or being active in club activities. There was a time when I longed for that kind of thing, to be honest. But the desire to correct the twisted nature I've developed, or the courage to try, has gradually faded away. Even without friends, I can get by. That's how I found myself repeating the words. I once said to my mom to myself, "Hey, Mihara, I want to hang out with you today." It down. A message came through on my phone, which until now only had my parents as contacts. Despite being like this, I made my first friend. And she's a girl, too. My friend's name is Asanagi. She's the second cutest girl in class. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. This phrasing refers to Minecraft, which is a popular video game in Japan. Right arrow curving left, a movie produced quickly and cheaply and often considered to have little artistic value. Right arrow curving left, the celestial sun goddess from whom the Japanese imperial family claims descent, and an important Shinto deity. Right arrow curving left, an escalator, school Japanese letter, 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 Chinese letter, Chinese letter, escalator, gyakko. Japanese letter, 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 Chinese letter, escalator, co-offers continuous education from elementary or middle, sometimes kindergarten, through university. Students typically advance without new entrance exams. Such schools are especially prevalent in Japan and the Philippines. Right arrow curving left, Chapter 1. A girl named Asanagi Yumi. After the entrance ceremony, Asanagi-san was dubbed the second cutest girl in class, a title whispered among the boys. This was due to the presence of Amami-san, who happens to be Asanagi-san's best friend. Finally, the week's over. Tilde. Hey Yumi, praise me for getting through 5th and 6th period without dozing off. Tilde. No, you were just dozing off. If you want praise, then stay awake and be serious. That's a difficult request. Tilde. After lunch, when you're done eating, you immediately start with those mantras, right? It's hard to resist that kind of mental attack. It's not mantras, it's ethics class. Ethics. While engaging in their usual light-hearted banter, Amami-san hugs Asanagi-san. It's become a familiar sight in the classroom, the precious moment between the two central figures of the class. Amami-san is an angel again today. Ha! With that smile, I feel like I could endure any class. I can overhear the whispers of my classmates, and the topic of conversation revolves around Amami-san, who is famous throughout the school as one of the most beautiful girls. Asanagi isn't bad either. No, she should be good, if not better. Compared to Amami-san, she inevitably fades into the background, you could say, with Amami-san, who stands out even among upperclassmen in the same class. Asanagi-san's second cutest title feels almost unfair. No one says it to her face, but surely it must have reached her ears somehow. Even though Asanagi-san hasn't done anything wrong, the way they talk about her makes it seem like she's inferior. There might be some jealousy involved, but honestly, it doesn't feel good to listen to it. It's not my place to get angry, though. What's wrong, Mihara-kun? Uyarma-kun? No, it's nothing. Perhaps sensing something suspicious about my demeanor, Uyarma-kun, who sits next to me, spoke up. He's a classmate with a similar build, wearing frameless glasses, but sadly, we're not exactly friends. We are only on the level of acquaintances who might lend each other textbooks when one of us forgets them. We simply recognize each other's spaces. This is the result of my school life over the past few months. I decided to let it go and quickly packed up my things to head home. Today is Friday, the start of the weekend. Tomorrow and the day after are days off, an invincible time for everyone. It's best to spend some leisurely time alone, without thinking about others. Hey, Yumi, it's Friday, let's go out and have some fun. Maybe to the arcade or karaoke. Sorry, you. I think I'll pass today. What's up? Do you have to do something important? Yeah, sort of. There's this movie I really want to see. A movie? Ha! The word movie caught my attention. I vaguely remember that during self-introductions, Asanagi-san mentioned that she enjoys outdoor activities. Did she have an interest in movies as well? Even so, it's probably some famous international title or something. I'm the odd one out here. That's the more normal preference. Oh, really? What kind of movie is it? Action? Romance? If it sounds interesting, I'd like to see it too. Well, it's this one. Presumably, Asanagi-san shows the screen, likely a page introducing the movie, to Amami-san and the surrounding classmates. Then, the usually bright smile on Amami-san's face dimmed slightly. See, I knew it would get this kind of reaction. Oh, no, it's not like I'm trying to deny your taste in movies or anything, but you think it looks boring, right? Well, yeah, at the very least, I'm not that interested. Sorry, it's okay. I figured as much, so I planned on watching it alone anyway. It seemed that while I had assumed that Asanagi had good taste in choosing a movie, it didn't quite resonate with Amami. Even though I have no idea what the movie is about, honestly, I'm a little curious now. Sorry about today. I'm free tomorrow, so I'll make it up to you then. Come on, everyone's waiting, right? Go on ahead. That's a promise, Kay. Absolutely. Yeah, and I got it. With that, as Asanagi gently stroked Amami's head, I glanced sideways and slipped past the two of them, leaving the classroom. In the end, I overheard their entire conversation, catching every single word. I was well aware that it was rather distasteful to pry into their private discussion like that, but I couldn't shake off my curiosity. I don't think it's such a bad hobby, to be honest, I muttered to myself, without intending for anyone to hear. Then I left the classroom a step ahead. After leaving the school gate, I walked about 10 minutes in the opposite direction of my apartment. The place I visited is called Pizza Rocket. As you can probably guess from the name, it's a pizza delivery shop near the high school area. It's my usual routine for the weekend, taking advantage of my parents not being home. I order delivery pizza, drink cola, play games, and watch rented movies. It's pure indulgence. As I inadvertently disclosed during introductions, it's that kinder indulgent time. Well, it's rare to see you come directly to the store. Can I place an order? The usual, then? Yes, that's fine. Because I order at this shop often, they know my order as the usual. I'm probably the only regular at this pizza delivery place around here. It's not exactly something to brag about. While waiting for my order to be ready, I sit in one of the chairs in the corner of the store and gaze out the window at the view outside. Since it's close to our high school, groups of students often pass by the shop, chatting and joking around, swinging their bags as they go. Most of them are naturally in tight-knit groups of friends. However, before I realized it, I let out a sigh. I don't mind spending my parent-free weekends treating myself. The pizza here is delicious, and there are so many interesting games and movies being released one after another that time flies by. But sometimes, unexpectedly, a sense of loneliness creeps in. Friends? What if I had a friend sitting next to me right now? We'd probably chat about trivial things, laugh out loud, watch movies, play games. Would I still find this time spent alone, just waiting around, enjoyable? Why am I moping around for talking about hypotheticals won't change anything? So, instead of dwelling on it, I should focus on leveling up my solo skills to enjoy this time even more. It's definitely better than just moping around doing nothing, shaking my head to clear away unnecessary thoughts. I grabbed my order and headed to my next destination. It's been a month since my last visit, but this place still has a great atmosphere. Stepping into the rental video store not far from the pizza shop, I murmured as I looked around the dimly lit interior. Since it's a small independent store, they don't carry many mainstream titles, but they have a solid lineup that hits niche interests, attracting more customers than you'd expect. Well, there aren't many B-movie lovers like me, so after this time, most customers head to the adult section. In fact, half of the store's area is dedicated to it. Oh, there are a few new arrivals this week too. Cyborg Nanomachine Shark, Killer vs. Man-Eating Sharks on a Deserted Island, and other titles adorned with NEW. Stickers catch my eye, each with a provocative title, that makes me wonder. Last week, it was all about crocodiles, so this week seems to be about sharks. And there's a teaser for zombies and others for next week. New releases are nice, but for today I think I'll go with some classics, thinking that I reached for the top shelf where the old classics were kept. But suddenly my hand touched another hand reaching out from a different direction. A hand smaller than mine, with a smooth, silky texture. Sorry I was so focused on choosing, I didn't notice. You there? Well, I've been here beside you since earlier and you still didn't notice you're terrible, Miharu-kun. As I turned to look, I was surprised. Asanagi-san. Yeah, you got it. We're classmates, but this is the first time we've talked, isn't it? Yeah, it is. The girl who spoke to me was Asanagi-san, a classmate. Asanagi-san, don't you have something important today, huh? Ihara-kun, were you listening to my conversation with you earlier? You were eavesdropping, weren't you, Tilderar? Damn it. I ended up blurting out something unnecessary due to being flustered. No, I mean sorry. Hee hee, it's okay. Considering all the noise we made in the classroom, it's no surprise you overheard. Sorry about my best friend earlier. No, it's my fault. She doesn't seem bothered, which is a relief, but I wonder how it would have gone if it were Amami-san or some other girl. Anyway, I'm glad Asanagi-san is nice. Oh, about my plans. Sorry, Mihara-kun. What I told you earlier was only half true. The real reason is, saying that, Asanagi-san pointed at my face. Emmy? Yeah, I have something to talk to you about. Is that okay? Yeah, I replied as such, but my mind was still in chaos. Asanagi-san and me. There shouldn't be any connection between us. You look confused. I was pretty nervous too, Mihara-kun. Here. Is this the piece of paper Asanagi-san handed me? Was exactly the same one I saw in April. Self-introduction card name, Asanagi Yui Hometown. Takabarner Girls High School Special Skills/Hobbies, Movies, Games, Reading, among others. Anything indoor-related. A fan of B-movies. Likes cola and other carbonated drinks. Love them to death. Message, looking for like-minded people. I'd be happy to become friends with you. Just kidding. Hee hee, it's different from what I wrote in the first self-introduction, but this is how it would look if I wrote it properly. Unlike Mihara-kun, who wrote his so honestly. I see. Somehow I understood why she had approached me. I had a vague sense of why, because despite my interest in movies, Amami-san and the others didn't react much. It seems that she and I are comrades who share the same passion. Mihara-kun, what do you recommend? I'm still a beginner in this genre, and I've been wanting to learn more ever since that self-introduction. Well, let's see. If you don't mind me going all out with my tastes, then something like this. Har, what's piranha shark? Why make the shark smaller? I mean, you could just call it a man-eating piranha, and the screaming face on the package is way too surreal. Right. You have to give them credit for trying so hard to come up with something original, though. Yeah, it kinda reminds me of Kung Fu Shark 1. Oh, I know, that one too. It's a classic. In the so bad it's good sense. Yeah, exactly. And so, in a dimly lit corner of a store where students rarely ventured, Asanagi-san and I quietly but enjoyably engaged in a lively discussion about our hobbies. From that moment our friendship quietly began, hidden from others. However, just because I had made a friend didn't mean that my actions dramatically changed. Basically, I still didn't talk to anyone at school, and of course, I didn't exchange morning greetings with Asanagi-san either. I continued to commute between home and school, and once back home, I spent my time watching movies or playing games. The only difference was that Asanagi-san joined me on Friday evenings. Hey, Mihara. Hey, just as it was time for dinner, Asanagi-san would come to my house. In her hand, she would carry a plastic bag containing bottles of cola and various snacks she probably bought on the way. It was her way of providing entertainment, so she would occasionally bring them like so. The displayed drinks at the store are a bit pricey for the amount you get, so it's best to exercise self-control. I've already placed an order at the store, but is it okay if I brought some snacks to share with you? Sure. Our tastes in food are pretty similar anyway, Mihara. By the way, what did you order? Well, last time it was a bit light, so today I went for something more heavy. Angel and demon garlic and cheese, and teriyaki chicken. Double the amount of cheese and mayo, triple the garlic. We are on the same page. Mihara, you're quite something. Well, it's just something like this. Maybe this is what they mean by kindred spirits. I never expected our taste in food would be so similar. The lineup would likely be off-putting to most girls, but Asanagi-san seems to prefer richer and more intense flavors and aromas. Before long, our order arrived, so we took it to the dining table, or rather, we just left it on the carpet in the living room where the TV was. Anyways, good job this week. Yeah, good work. We raised our glasses, filled to the brim with cola and toasted quenching our thirsty throats. The unique flavor and sweetness, along with the refreshing fizz, passed through our throats. Mihara, what's the plan today? Another round of material gathering and hunting. I thought that would be fine, but today I'm feeling more like competitive play than cooperation. With an L-sized pizza prepared for each of us in hand, I pulled out the game console from under the TV stand. I pulled out an FPS game, the kind where you complete missions or take down opponents. I usually play it solo. Oh, that one. You never learned, do you? Today, I'll put a lead bullet in your ass and make it a double, even though you lost all 10 matches last week. I've been practicing at home besides. I'm gonna even the score today. Yeah, right. After wiping our hands with a wet towel, we started the game. First to win 10 matches takes the victory. You jerk, that's my gun. No fair. There's no such thing as cowardice or bullshit on the battlefield. Finders keepers. Oh, now you've done it. I'm gonna make you regret making me get serious. We've only finished one match, and you're already losing your cool, isn't your boiling point a bit low? Occasionally nibbling on pizza or side menu potatoes. We played 10 matches for the time being. Boom. Asanagi-san slamming the table might disturb the people downstairs, so, maybe not. My 100% win rate continues as usual. It seems that Asanagi-san enjoys the game itself, but her playing skills aren't quite there. Well, it's not like she's obsessed with games like me, so it's only natural. Something else. And something else. Okay. Seeing Asanagi-san looking a bit teary-eyed, I decided I'll go a little easy on her from now on. That's how we spent our weekends, playing different kinds of games together. Asanagi-san and I. Playing games together added a new layer of enjoyment, even though we had already played through many of the games available at home. We tackled co-op missions that I couldn't manage alone and shared tips and tricks while playing in versus mode. The weekends, which sometimes felt dull, flew by in the blink of an eye. It's already this late. I should head back soon. Yeah, let's call it a night. Okay. The clock hands had long past 9 in the evening. It seems she had already notified her parents in advance, but if she were to be too late, it would certainly cause worry. Oh, I'll help with the cleanup too. Sure, there are only cups to wash, and the rest just needs to be thrown into the trash. We polished off all the food we'd prepared. It seemed like a lot, but it disappeared while we played. I eat a lot, but Asanagi-san eats even more. Oh, what's up, Mihara? Staring at my body like that. So naughty. Oh, no, I was just thinking. You eat quite a bit, yet you're still slimmer than me. Yeah, it's because I exercise moderately. On the other hand, I feel like you have a bit too much belly fat, don't you? Suddenly, she pinched my side, and I let out an involuntary yelp. I wasn't used to anyone touching me, and my skin was way too sensitive. It seems like she's thinking of something mischievous, given the sly smile on her lips. Asanagi-san, I realized it was a mistake, but it was already too late. Just as I exposed my weakness, Asanagi-san mercilessly tickled my sides. I see, Tilder. So this is where you're weak, Mihara Tilder. And what about here? That everywhere around there is bad, so please stop. Hee. I wonder what I should do, Tilder. I've accumulated so much stress today from being teased by you, Mihara Tilder ga. Why didn't I try to escape the tickling attack somehow, but I couldn't muster the strength to do as I wished. And so I continued to be humiliated by Asanagi-san for a few more minutes. I made a girly sound, hee. Despite being a boy, you cry in such a cute voice. You were adorable, Mihara Tilder. I'll just you wait until next time. Do your best, Kay? As I spat out those words, Asanagi-san laughed so hard that tears welled up in her eyes. Even though I dominated the game, it was frustrating to have her turn the tables like this. Geez, are you satisfied now? Just go home already. Shoo. All right. Tilder, it was fun today. Even though we've only played together 2 or 3 times, I didn't expect us to become this close, Tilder. Well, yet even though our hobbies match, it's still pretty unusual for you to approach me, Asanagi-san. Oh no, Tilder, I can't compete with Mihara-kun, who's so good at casually inviting girls over. Well, I had no choice. It's not like I could think of anything else to do besides gaming at home. Since I'd never hung out with friends after school before, my options were pretty limited. I see, that makes sense. Well then, let's play outside next week. See you later. Yeah, wait. Hang on a second. I almost let it slip for a moment, but I refrained from pressing further. What? Is next week not good for you? No, it's fine since I'm free all the time. It's not that. It's about what you said for next week. Playing outside. Yeah, by outside, you mean outside the house, right? Of course. We are high schoolers. After all, we should go out sometimes. Maybe shop a little, grab a meal, hit the arcade, stuff like that. It's not fair for you to always take care of me, so this time I thought I'd teach you how to have fun outside. I couldn't deny that playing somewhere different for a change might be refreshing. Just to confirm, that means it's just the two of us, right? Of course. The fact that Mihara and I are friends is a secret from everyone else in the class. Me, a rather inconspicuous presence in the class, and Asanagi-san, who is a central figure even though we're not in that typical boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. It's a matter that doesn't concern our other classmates. It'll probably just be consumed as juicy gossip material. Oh, and see, Mihara is nervous about our after-school dates. Dates, well, it's not really like that. Don't worry. I'll make sure we don't run into anyone from class. Since we're young, why not experience a little thrill now and then, right? I wonder if that's really okay. I can't help but focus on the risks first, but I'm sure Asanagi-san will handle it just fine. I'm saying it's okay because I think it's fine. Well, if we get caught, we can boldly declare our relationship, right? We're dating, but we're not actually dating. Har, I'm just kidding. Anyway, let's plan for next week like that. Oh, and of course, we'll split the bill, so don't worry. It's obvious we'd split the bill. What are you even saying? I should probably talk to my mom about increasing my allowance for meals first. And of course, I'll make sure to keep it a secret that I'm going out with a girl. We'll wait for Asanagi-san to contact me again with the detailed plans after the break. What did you just say, Mackie? That's odd. Did Mom's ears go bad just to be sure? Can you say it again? You heard me. And it's not a hallucination. I know, I know. Please say it one more time. Geez, in the morning, before heading to work, when I talked about the plans for this weekend with my mom, she was either genuinely surprised or acting so convincingly with her mouth half open. So about that, I'm planning to go out with a friend after school this weekend and I wanted to ask for a little extra money. With only 2,000 yen left, I didn't have enough to cover train fare, food, and entertainment. So I have no choice but to ask my mom. You've never shown any signs like this before. It's not like you've been extorted for money by some bad person. Right. No, it's nothing like that. They are a decent person, not some imaginary one, right? Nope. It's a sudden conversation, so it's natural for my mom to worry. It seems like she's genuinely happy about it, which makes me feel a bit awkward. It's still a secret, but I can't help but wonder how my mom would react if she knew my friend is a girl. That's something I'm a bit curious about. About the money? Of course it's fine. Here you go. No, I don't need 10,000. I only need an extra 1 or 2,000 yen. Is that so? Well, if you need more later, just let me know. It's not a problem if it's that much. So, the money issue is temporarily resolved. Now, I just have to wait for Asanagi-san's contact. After that, I managed to somehow push my persistent mom, who was trying to pry out information about the friend, out of the house and get ready for school. It's a bit early for the commute, but well, it's fine once in a while. Even though Monday mornings are usually dreary for me, today I feel a little relieved, if only for a moment. I'm such a shallow guy. While walking along a less crowded route than usual, I immediately opened the messaging app to contact Asanagi-san. To maintain our secret friendship, this is the only communication tool between me and Asanagi-san since we don't talk at school. Mihara, good morning. Asanagi-san, are you okay now? Asanagi, yeah. Good morning. Asanagi, did you get the money properly? No. Asanagi, thanks for the meal. We're splitting the bill. Right. Hee. Anyway, I'll contact you later. Asanagi, okay. See you at school. Yeah. Except for weekends, we exchange messages like this. It's not like we talk frequently, Since we only send messages when necessary, well, it's still significant progress for me. Good morning, Yu-chin. Hey, did you see that thing yesterday? Morning, Nanaki Tilder. Yeah, I did. That scene there, the protagonist was so cool, and the heroine was cute, right, Tilder? When I headed towards the classroom, the group, including Amami-san, was already chatting happily. Of course, Asanagi-san was there too. Oh, sorry. I couldn't watch it live yesterday. Is that so? That's unusual for you, Yumi-chin. I was doing some research. Before I knew it, time had passed. Research? Was there some assignment or something? No, nothing like that. Well, I'm a top student, you know. Oh, there it is. Asanagi is boasting. But it's true. As the group chatted, Asanagi-san flashed a small peace sign in my direction. It was subtle enough that no one noticed, but it still made me nervous, wondering if anyone might have caught it. Hey, Yumi, did something happen just now? Oh, I feel a bit itchy around my waist. Maybe a bug bite. Saying that, Asanagi-san shrugged confidently. The way she approached me showed a kind of courage I genuinely admire. And just as I sat down at my desk, a message arrived. Asanagi, see, we didn't get caught, did we? Mihara, well, it was pretty close. Wasn't it kind of risky? Asanagi, courage is necessary for these things. Anyway, let's do the same this weekend. Mihara, are you sure it'll be okay? Honestly, I'm worried sick. But at the same time, I can't help looking forward to it. I spent the entire morning brainstorming excuses for getting caught, and soon it was lunchtime, a brief break from boring classes. Well, then, waiting for the wave of classmates rushing to the cafeteria or the school store to pass, I discreetly dispersed from the classroom like mist. I headed to a quiet spot near the parking lot, where students with bikes and senseis with cars often passed through. It's a warehouse built nearby, seldom visited during the day, serving as an oasis for me. I'm sipping on a pack of tea I bought from a vending machine on the way here. I absent-mindedly gaze at the bright, white clouds of autumn. Spending time alone like this is nice. While hanging out with a Asanagi-san is fun, the challenges of making my first real friend can be exhausting. I wonder if I'm really getting along well with a Asanagi-san as friends. Perhaps I'm tired after all. Unconsciously, such thoughts slip out of my mouth. Should I be more considerate and engage in some games? Am I talking too much about Asanagi-san and not enough about other topics? She's the one who showed me the joys of socializing, and I want to do my part to keep this friendship going. It's a bit early, but should I head back to the classroom? I washed down the leftovers of my bento with some tea and stood up. With over 30 minutes of lunch left, I'd usually doze off alone, but today I couldn't seem to relax. Perhaps I'm thinking too much, but making friends is indeed challenging. So, senpai, what's up? What brings you to a place like this? No, actually, there's something I want to talk about. And just as I was about to leave the hiding spot to return to the classroom, I heard voices. I couldn't discern who they were since the voices were distant, but they were undoubtedly a pair of boys and girls. If they are having a conversation here, I can vaguely guess what it might be about. I missed my chance to leave and sank back into my hiding spot. Although I'm just here by coincidence, I can't shake the feeling that eavesdropping is somehow wrong. Let's take the long way around and distance ourselves from here. No, that would mean passing by the staff room. Should I just hide here? Being questioned by a sensei about what I'm doing alone would be troublesome. I certainly can't say I was eavesdropping on someone else's confession. So I crouched down and held my breath. Come on, this way. Be careful not to make too much noise, or they'll notice. Why, yeah, but the ground here is slippery. Whoa. Did they come from the route where I hesitated to take? The voices approached me. HM. Oh, hey, isn't that Mihara-kun? Exclamation. Amami-san, huh? What's going on? Yuichin, do you know this person? Nanaki, don't you recognize him? He's Mihara Maki-kun from our class. Before me stood two female classmates, Amami-san and Nitter-san, but why are they in such a deserted place? When I left the classroom, they were supposed to be having lunch with Asanagi-san, weren't they? Well, anyhow, could you move aside a bit? I can't see Asanagi from there. Come on. Yushin, you too. Are sorry, Mihara-kun. Nanaki's usually normal, but at times like this, She tends to lose sight of her surroundings. Well, that's okay, but what caught my attention wasn't their apology. I leaned forward behind Amami-san and Nitter-san to glimpse the boy and girl speaking. Asanagi-chan, if you don't mind, would you go out with me? I had a bad feeling when they showed up, and sure enough, the girl being confessed to was Asanagi-san. **** Kung Fu Shark is a series on YouTube that features Jack Black. It revolves around a shark puppet that performs kung fu, mixing comedy, music, and action in its episodes. It parodies the Kung Fu Panda series, adding a fun twist by featuring a shark as the martial arts hero. Right arrow curving left. Chapter 2, second place. Encountering this kinder situation for the first time, I never expected Asanagi-san to be involved. Of course, it's not surprising for someone like Asanagi-san to receive a confession like that. Although Amami-san stands out a lot in class, it doesn't change the fact that Asanagi-san is also very cute. So it's not strange that someone would want her as their girlfriend. The boy confessing was someone I didn't recognize. Since she called him senpai, he's probably a second or third year student. He was tall, had well-defined features, and exuded a refreshing or the complete opposite to me. I know very well that it's wrong to eavesdrop. It's disrespectful to both the upperclassmen who confessed and to Asanagi-san. However, I couldn't help but be curious, and I couldn't take my eyes off their interaction. I'm sorry. Since she immediately responded with sorry right after the confession, she must have intended to turn him down from the start. The upperclassman could only give a wry smile in response to her refreshingly straightforward answer. Har, could it be that you already have someone you're dating? No, I'm not dating anyone. Do you have someone you like? No, not that either. It's just that I'm not interested in that kind of thing at all right now. He got shot down after all. Asanagi really doesn't say yes easily. Well, that senpai, though, no matter how good-looking he is, he's way too curt. It's no wonder he got turned down. I'm curious about what exactly is going on, but as an outsider, I can't really ask for much. Sorry for leaving you out, Miharu-kun. We got caught up in our own conversation. That senpai said the exact same thing to me a while back, you know. Yeah, that definitely doesn't sound good. I was fooled by his refreshing appearance, but it seems he was the incredibly flirtatious type. It's no wonder he got turned down so easily, then. But it's really something, isn't it? Yumi is incredibly popular. Whenever we hang out together, it's always Yumi who gets approached. This confession makes it her 5th time since starting high school. 5th. I'm speechless. 5 confessions in less than 6 months since starting school is really something. Well, even so, if Yuchin rejects the next one, she'll be on her 5th too. It's neck and neck. That's not true, Tilder. Maybe in terms of numbers, but I feel like none of them are really serious when it comes to me. Maybe it's because Yuchin is too dazzling, so everyone feels intimidated. Tilder? You think so, Tilder? I think Yumi is much more beautiful and cute than me. That's not it. You know, it's like if everyone admires the unreachable idol, there's still a chance with the backup dancer standing beside them type situation. You know what I mean? Most of the guys who go for Asanagi are probably like that. Nitter-san's analogy is honestly a bit awkward, but I generally understand what she's trying to say. Compared to being the center of attention and popular among both boys and girls like some first-magnitude star, there's a certain illusion that comes with the less dazzling second-magnitude star, enough to make you think, maybe, just maybe, I could if I were a boy. I'd definitely go for Yumi. Don't you think so, Miharu-kun? I'm not sure I've seen her expressions outside of school, so personally, I think Asanagi-san is just as cute as Amami-san. But since we are keeping our friendship a secret, it's a bit hard for me to comment. Or rather, what's up, Miharu-kun? So Amami-san is the type to do this kind of eavesdropping too? Well, yeah, I do, because Yumi is my best friend. Answering like that, Amami-san continued to watch over the situation. Is that it? Well then, I'll be going. Wait a moment, if not dating, maybe we could start as friends or something. If that's the case, I'll be taking my leave for real now. Asanagi-san brushed off the persistent upperclassman and turned on her heel, disappearing into the school building. It looks like it's over. Well then, shall we hurry back to the classroom? Nanaki, make sure to properly and sorry, Miharu-kun. We got you involved in something weird. No, don't worry about it. In the end, I'm just as guilty, it seems. However, even if I keep the fact that I was with Amami-san a secret, I should probably apologize to Asanagi-san for secretly watching the confession earlier. Yu-chin, what's taking you so long? Let's go already, Tilder. Sorry, I'm coming now. Oh, right. Miharu-kun, can I borrow your phone? Oh, sure. Thanks. I reflexively handed over my phone, and Amami-san started tapping away at something. What are you doing, Amami-san? Take this as a token of us getting to know each other, I guess. Here, I'm giving it back. Saying that, Amami-san handed me back my phone. Displayed on the screen was a phone number that wasn't mine. That's my number. Call me later, since I'll register yours in. All right. Wait a moment. Well then, see you in the classroom. Make sure today's events stay a secret from Yumi, okay? Without waiting for my protest, Amami-san swiftly left me behind, looking cheerful as ever. And just like that, I was once again left alone in that place. What was that anyway? This has become quite troublesome. Amami-san's contact information, which most guys would probably yearn for desperately, and here I am, the last person you'd expect to have it. After school, fortunately, Asanagi-san had some free time, so I decided to apologize to her for eavesdropping on today's confession. Oh, don't worry about it. I thought she might give me a displeased look, but she seemed unfazed. She took a gulp of cola from her glass and started crunching on the potato chips I had prepared. Aren't you mad? Well, not particularly. Besides, you didn't follow me. You just happened to be there, right? If anything, I feel bad for making you worry. If you say so, Asanagi-san, then that's good. Nah, I don't mind being overheard. I was a bit sneaky because of the other person involved. But Nina loves that kind of stuff. Nina, you mean Knitter-san? Yeah, she has wide connections, and thanks to that, you and I benefit too. I'll keep my encounter with Amami-san and Knitter-san a secret, as promised. Anyway, I'll leave it to them to decide what to do, though, knowing Asanagi-san, she'd probably notice them sneaking around. Hey, can I ask you something? What is it? Asanagi-san, do you get a lot of attention from boys? To some moderate extent, I guess. Not as much as you. 5 guys in less than half a year isn't moderate by my standards, but that's information I wasn't supposed to know, so I won't dig into it. What, are you jealous, Miharu? No, not at all actually. I think it would be a hassle. A hassle? Why? Well, it's just kinder a feeling. I struggled to respond. I've always been so shy that I couldn't even ask my classmates to be friends. Should someone like me talk about love and relationships? That's not good. Come on, just imagine. I want to hear what you think, Miharu. Oh, and Asanagi-san insists like that, it's hard to refuse. Besides, there's that guilty feeling about sneaking around with Amami-san and Knitter-san. Okay, as long as you don't laugh, don't worry. Go ahead. Well, even if she does laugh, it wouldn't bother me if it's Asanagi-san. I'm used to it by now. It's a world I can't even imagine. But being popular means being seen by many people in that way, right? And they'd want to get closer to you, to have a special relationship. Yeah, that's true. Being liked means you have a unique charm, which is obviously a good thing. It's definitely better than being disliked. But just because someone likes you doesn't mean it's always a good thing. A perfect example is the guy who confessed to Asanagi-san today. There are all kinds of people, including those you're not interested in or even dislike having to deal with them, would be a hassle for me. I'd think, why do I have to get so exhausted over people I don't care about? As Asanagi-san hesitated earlier, responding to a confession is a delicate matter. Some people might outright reject someone, but that could lead to unnecessary grudges. People's feelings of like and dislike are very tricky. When I think about it that way, I feel like it's okay if I'm not popular. Being alone can be tough, but at least I don't have to worry about unnecessary things. That's a pretty lonely way to think. I know. That's why I've been this way all along. Unless I start making an effort to change this mindset, I'll probably stay this way forever. So, that's my take on it. I see. I understand your perspective, but I think you're overthinking it a bit. Ouch. It's a painful point, but she's completely right, so I can't argue. Well, I like that about you, Mihara. Of course, as a friend, okay? Don't misunderstand. I get it. I don't dislike you either, Asanagi-san, but only as a friend. Don't you misunderstand either. Acting all tough when you'd be lonely without me. But, you Wargo, just so you know, I'm not holding back today. 10 battles, 100 battles, I'll beat you to a pulp. Bring it on. You better be ready for my godlike aim. Bold words for someone taught by the master. We dropped the relationship talk there and turned to the TV screen as usual. For someone like me, who just started making friends, this felt more comfortable. After that, nothing noteworthy happened, and we peacefully reached the promised Friday. Initially, we planned to head out straight from school, but considering the risk of being spotted in our uniforms, we decided to change into casual clothes at home first and then meet at the station. My mom had given me extra money, so I had more than usual. Mihara, I'll go ahead then. Asanagi, yeah. See you at the station. With that exchange, I passed by Asanagi-san. Yumi, let's go home together. Will you? Okay, but no detours. Again today? Yeah, there's been a lot going on at home lately. Really annoying. Really. You seem pretty cheerful for that. No, it's just your imagination. Despite her words, Asanagi-san had been in a good mood all day, occasionally humming. Maybe she was looking forward to hanging out in town with me. But her expression suggested she was planning to mess with me, so I was already worried about what she had in store. But you's right. Yumi, you've been hanging with us less lately. You say it's family stuff, but could it be your boyfriend? No way. Yumi wouldn't have something like that, right? Hey, bestie, don't be swayed by the enemy's words. Neener, I'll remember this. Yikes, Yumi-chan is scary. Their usual trio chat naturally gathered the attention of other people. What's up? You guys having fun without us? Anyway, you should head to your club, right? Amami-san. Most of them were guys. It was obvious even from a distance that they were focused on Amami-san. It felt unpleasant. Got it. I'll go home with Neener today. By the way, what are you going to do about that? If I can help, it's about my brother. Oh, then I can't help. Hey, at least pretend to think about it. Har. Sorry, Amami-san backed off quickly. It was the first time I'd heard Asanagi-san mention a brother, but for Amami-san, the real-life representation of a social butterfly, to back off so easily, it must be something. After watching the two of them, I took out my phone and sent a message to Asanagi-san. Mihara, hey, Asanagi-san. Asanagi what? Mihara, go easy on me today. Asanagi a tilde, should I really do that? Mihara, please. Asanagi tilde, there wasn't much I could do, but if it made her enjoy herself a bit more, that was enough for me. She's my friend, so I want to at least do that much. After returning home from school and changing into rarely worn casual clothes, I headed to the station's ticket gate, where we'd agreed to meet. I got here too early. It was about 30 minutes before the appointed time. I was too early, but staying at home made me restless, so I decided to wait for Asanagi-san to arrive. The station was crowded, with people, especially young ones, who seemed to be heading out for fun, all dressed fashionably. Are these clothes okay? I looked at my reflection in the station's ad panel. A black sweatshirt and black jeans. The sweatshirt had some English-like print on the front and back. It was the newest of my clothes, though it was bought a year ago. I heard the giggles of some unknown girls and instinctively hunched my shoulders. In this crowd, they probably weren't directed at me, but being alone and uneasy made me think that way. I should have come more leisurely, regretting my early arrival less than 5 minutes in. Mihara. With a sudden whisper and a firm grip on my shoulder, I jumped in surprise. Seriously, you're too jumpy. Hey, Mihara. Turning around, I saw Asanagi-san with a cheerful smile. She was dressed in an oversized hoodie, capri jeans, sports brand sneakers, and a cap. But I tried to pick a casual outfit to blend in. But is it too plain? No, not at all. Actually, it was quite stylish. With her naturally attractive looks, tall and slender build, she looked like a model who could pull off any outfit. As I guessed, you're wearing too much black, Mihara. It's more shadow and shade. Are you secretly aspiring to be dark? No, it's just these are made of good material. They're warm and useful from fall to spring. I get it, but well, it's fine for today. Next time, think about color coordination. You'll stand out in a bad way otherwise. Though I hadn't noticed when leaving home. In a crowded place, my all-black outfit certainly stood out. If it were on someone with a good build and face, it might be fine, but on me it was pretty disappointing. I had no right to complain if I got laughed at. By the way, you're early too, Asanagi-san. It's still before our meeting time. That's because I figured you'd be here early and nervous. And there you were, just as I thought. Thanks. It was frustrating, but she hit the nail on the coffin. Honestly, when I saw Asanagi, I felt genuinely relieved. Since we are already here, let's get going. If you don't hurry, I'll leave you behind. Wait a second. Asanagi started walking, and I followed right behind her. By the way, what's the plan for today? I'd like to know soon. I haven't really decided. We'll just wander around, eat when we get hungry, and then find somewhere to hang out, something like that. That sounds more like winging it than a plan. No, the plan is to hang out together, so it's all good. This is pretty much how it goes when I hang out with you and the others. Is that so? When I come to places like this, it's usually for shopping, classes, or going to the movies or an arcade. Wandering aimlessly like this makes me feel uneasy. By the way, do you come here often? Where do you usually go? Don't make it sound like I'm some shut-in monster. Well, I usually go to an anime shop a bit away from the station where I buy manga or games. Oh, where is that? I'd like to check it out. Well, it's not really the best place for a high school girl to visit. I want to go. Like I said, it's not exactly a place for Mihara. Yes, I had no choice but to reluctantly agree. Hopefully she won't be too put off. The anime shop I visit once or twice a month is on the second floor of a small building a bit off the main street. Despite its small size, it has a great selection and some exclusive items, so it's my go-to place for shopping. There are a lot of cute girls with colorful hair here, aren't there? Asanargi's blunt comment pierced through me and the surrounding customers. Well, I was a bit surprised the first time I came here too. I'm not judging. It's refreshing to see places like this. I never get to go to places like this with you and the others. Yeah, I can imagine. There are still quite a few people who have prejudices or dislike these hobbies, so it must be a complex feeling for someone like Asanagi, who is connected to both sides. Oh, Mihara, what is it? We've been friends for a while now, so why don't you stop calling me Asanagi-san? Oh, that he's already calling me without honorifics, but I've just stuck with the original way of addressing her. It feels weird if one of us uses san and the other doesn't, even though we are equals. Well, okay then, Asanagi, why are you silent? Because you didn't call me Yumi. She knows I wouldn't call her that, yet she complained anyway. Asanagi can be quite mischievous sometimes. It's not that I dislike it, but it's a bit frustrating. Then how about you call me Maki, and I'll call you Yumi? No, we're not that close yet. That's my line, idiot. Oh, is that so? Well then, shall we go over to the section labeled 18 plus together? No way, absolutely not. We shouldn't go there. That's a place reserved for gentlemen probably. I just get curious when I see a curtain like that. Are you an old man? I'm just curious. Aren't you? Well, what? I almost let something slip. I'm not. Really. We're just putting on a brave face. Holding back isn't good for you, you know. It's not that I'm not interested, but not now. Boo, you're no fun. Enduring Asanagi's teasing, I pulled her towards the section with all ages comics. Even though there weren't many people around, and we were speaking quietly, I still apologized to the staff for our fuss. Asanagi seemed to be having fun, but I felt like I lost half my energy. Oh, this one. I've been reading it. The new volume is out today. Kaiju 8 how? It's popular. So, you like these kinds of stories too? No, I like intense battles and gory scenes. Most girls don't understand though. What about you? I'm into similar stuff, but also, well, this too. I picked up a romance manga from the shelf. It's a relatively mainstream love comedy without the typical harem elements, focusing on a single, serious relationship. Wow, I didn't expect you to read something like this. I thought it'd be something more lewd. I'm not into that. This one's less mainstream but still sells well, and the story is good. Hey, can I borrow this? I want to read it. Sure, thanks. Asanagi took the sample book and started flipping through it. The characters are all so nice. You'd think with so many cute girls, more people would flock to them. People tend to avoid stressful storylines these days, though reality isn't as kind. Yeah, if only the world were as kind as in these stories. Maybe because she and her best friend Amami get a lot of attention, her words carried weight. Anyway, so you do dream of cute girls and romance. Huh? You're a typical guy after all. Well, fiction is fiction and reality is reality. I know the difference. In reality, someone like Amami showing interest in me is just impossible. I see. Well, I'll let it slide for today. Good thing I'm a saint. Huh? Aren't you more like a bad girl? Don't get cocky. Sorry. After some more casual manga discussion, we left the store and headed to the next place to get something to eat. Following Asanagi's suggestion, we returned to the station and found the place she wanted to go to. Ah, Asanagi. Yes, Mihara. I just remembered something, so I think I'll wait. As I tried to leave, she grabbed my collar with surprising strength, and I couldn't move. Also, it hurt. Isn't this place a bit too much? Not really. It's pretty cheap and filling. We ended up at a burger place near the station entrance. It's affordable and decent, so I go there sometimes. But now, the timing was bad. The place was packed with students in uniforms, including some from our school. I didn't see any classmates yet, but it was still a risky place. With this many people, we'll be fine. I'll find a seat. You handle the order. Okay, Asanagi. I had bought new manga earlier, so my budget was tight. That's the life of a high school student. I ordered something good and went to the second floor where Asanagi was waiting. The place was 80% students, filled with chatter about school and weekend plans. Very lively. Asanagi. Mihara, over here. In the middle. Mihara got it. I see you. Even from a distance, Asanagi stood out despite her casual clothes. Though usually overshadowed by Amami's presence, she's quite attractive herself. I'd never tell her that, though. Welcome back. So what did you get? Meta burger L set. Drink is cola, sides are fries and nuggets. Which do you want? Both. Let's share. What sauce? Mustard. Nice. Sure. We each spread out our fries and nuggets on the table and began to eat. I usually get takeout, so it's been a while since I've had freshly fried fries. Ihara, where should we go next? Is there anywhere you want to go? No. I want to go home. Come on. Suggest at least one place. Even if you say that the anime shop was the last of my ideas of, how about the arcade? Asanagi seemed dissatisfied, but for me, it's been a while since I've been to an arcade. Though I don't like how those places feel like they put up a wall against solo visitors. It's a different story if you're interested in the games they have. All right. Then, let's take a photo together in the Puricure 1 booth with our best poses. No, I don't want to do that. No, Har. With our next plan decided, we continued chatting while finishing the fries and burgers in front of us. Though, the topics were the same as what we talk about at home. Favorite movies, recently watched game streaming channels. By the way, do you have any movie recommendations? My usual store hasn't had many new arrivals lately. In that case, there's one available only on streaming called Angel Shark. It's about a genetically modified shark with angel wings attacking people. The angel wings sprouting from the shark's fin are like a poor photo edit, and all the actors are terrible, making it so ridiculous I laughed for 90 minutes straight. That sounds like something I really want to see. There are sequels too, up to 3 so far. Just knowing that makes me laugh. It feels like there have been many new series being released recently too. At first, I was overly conscious of the people around us and was shrinking into myself, but Asanagi's smooth conversation helped me relax. Though she's a bit pushy at times, being with Asanagi is definitely enjoyable. We've already decided next week's plan. I'm looking forward to it. If it's okay with you, I don't mind, but are you sure it's fine to make plans with me every week? Oh, talking about you. It's fine, I make up for it on other days. I'm thinking about that properly. If Asanagi says so, I'll trust her, but to avoid getting caught up in the fun and making a mistake, I should be a bit cautious too. It's okay for me to stay in the background, but Asanagi probably can't afford to do that. Hey, isn't that the famous Asanagi-chan? Yeah, the first year who easily dumped Bet Senpai. Here it is, what I was afraid of. I heard the conversation behind me, likely between two girls. Their voices were unfamiliar, so they probably weren't classmates, but it wasn't a good situation. Mihara, Asanagi, Asanagi, yeah. Asanagi, I don't know them either, so they're probably upperclassmen. Honestly, I'm not even that famous. Feigning indifference, Asanagi casually picked up the remaining fries. Asanagi, Mihara, I'm sorry. Asanagi, can you endure a little embarrassment for me? Mihara, what do you mean? Asanagi, like this. With that, she took off her cap and, smiling brightly, offered me a fry. Here you go, darling. Say R. I was caught off guard by her sudden actions. Just what does Asanagi want me to do? Hey, what's with getting all embarrassed just because we're outside? We always feed each other like this at home. Well, it's not like the huh. Suddenly, a sharp pain struck at my shin. Asanagi kicked me hard. Perhaps you want to feed me while saying Arhan. Geez, can't be helped here. Go ahead. Oh, with Asanagi's toes asserting themselves on my shin, I reluctantly complied. Hee. It really does taste better when you feed it to me. All right, well, as long as you enjoyed it, I did what I was told. But will this be enough to smoothly divert the situation? No, it's gotta be someone else, right? Are you sure? They kinder look similar, though. But isn't that guy kinder lame for someone like her? He looks so gloomy. Oh, come to think of it, she often turned down other seniors with the excuse, unless if you have the face of an idol, don't try it, or something. Yeah, that's right. It's unbelievable that such a superficial girl would be eating fries with such an awkward and gloomy guy. You've got a point. Everyone's already gathered at the store, so let's go too. Who are you calling a superficial woman? Well, I mean, it's because of those superficial traits that you're able to escape sticky situations. I'm fine with it. I'm used to it. But it's frustrating when you have friends that get talked down like that. They don't even know you, Mihara. With a frustrated expression, Asanagi clenched her fist tightly. She's such a good person, so why do they say such mean things about her? Even those who spread rumors were probably once interested in Asanagi enough to confess. Don't worry about it. If you understand me, Asanagi, that's enough for me. Well, if it's okay with you, Mihara, I'll stop plotting revenge. I understand your feelings, but revenge is never the answer. Because fine. I get it. Having calmed down from our conversation, Asanagi chugged down her remaining cola and stood up. What a waste. And we were having such a nice meal, all right. Let's head to the arcade, Mihara. I'm gonna play until my wallet's empty today. Of course, you're coming with me, right? Well, I was thinking that heading home you're coming with me, right? Yes. And so our plans changed, but we proceeded to the arcade as intended. Leaving the restaurant, we headed straight into the amusement facility inside the station building. With the entire floor dedicated to it, the place was bustling with people not just in the gaming corner, but also in the batting cages and futsal courts. The dimly lit floor was adorned with flashing lights, and the cheers of people enjoying games filled the air. Here you go. I got some medals. Thanks. All the gaming here is paid for using medals purchased in advance. So Asanagi and I decided to share and pool our money together. We each chipped in about 1,000 yen, so we should be able to play for about an hour. All right, let's start by getting more of these medals. Are you sure you're not overdoing it with the middle-aged man at a pachinko parlor? I wonder if I'm the only one who finds it promising to hear a line like that before we even decide what to play. Relax. Just leave it to me, the hardcore metal game pro, and you've got nothing to worry about. That's quite the flag you're raising. Even though I wasn't sure how to enjoy myself, I stuck close to Asanagi as we headed to a certain game, in particular horse racing game. You bet on the order of the finishers, and you can win back more medals based on the odds. Which one do you think, Mihara? I think going with no. 9 is the way to go, Tilder. I don't really understand what she's saying, but Asanagi was already excitedly staring at the screen. Lening, trifecta, exactor. Wagering is done in various ways. As Asanagi explains, we place our bets on our predictions. I opt for the straightforward win bet. The return is low, but it should be enough for casual gaming. Asanagi seems to be putting in quite a bit, but is she gonna be okay? Now, this looks promising. We are in a good position. I watch the screen intently as the computer-generated horses race. I wasn't as nervous as Asanagi, but since we've bet our medals, I couldn't help but feel a little anxious. Oh, here comes no. 9 from the outside. No. 9 black shade, extending its lead from about 5 lengths to 4-3, and it keeps increasing the gap. Hey, Mihara, isn't this it? It's catching up. Oh, no, right. We both predicted the same horse for first place, so if it keeps up, we're in for a big win. As the horse we bet on rounds the final corner, it overtakes the leader from the outside, leaving the trailing pack far behind, and then, oh, we did it, Tilder. The horse we predicted came in first. Asanagi also bet on several horses based on the one she thought would win, and it paid off handsomely. Combining our winnings, it's more than tripled our original amount. I wasn't sure at first, but I'm glad I could ride on Mihara's beginner's luck. Thanks, Mihara. You're welcome. I was a little nervous thinking about losing, but the result was a win. With this much, we can play to our heart's content. Until the last possible moment we can stay here. Now that we've got more medals, let's take it easy, oh. Wait a minute. With a cupful of medals in hand, I moved towards the next spot, but Asanagi, who was next to me just now, suddenly went back to the original LCD screen. Asanagi, what are you doing? Now, Miharu, what are you talking about? The real deal starts now. I had a bad feeling about this, and sure enough, Asanagi was determined to bet on the next race as if it were given. Moreover, she was betting most of the medals that we had won earlier. If this hits, I'll be able to play to my heart's content for a while. It's a perfect chance to make up for my previous losses. Asanagi-san. All right, let's do this. No, she's not even listening to me. And without heeding my warning, she went ahead and made the bet. Miharu-san. But I'm sorry. We suffered a big loss, significantly reducing the medals we had. I'll have to be careful to avoid this kind of situation when playing with Asanagi in the future. Since Asanagi seemed to have reflected on it as well, we decided to enjoy games other than betting on medals. Asanagi, I'll leave that to you. Hey, don't just suddenly say that out of nowhere. This stupid zombie is getting cocky. I'm gonna kill this thing. We're currently playing a co-op shooting game together that was pretty easy for a beginner like me. Although I was initially confused by the unfamiliar controller, once I got used to it, I skillfully took out the enemies without losing any lives. Just missed out on first place maybe. That initial mistake really cost us. Well, it's pretty impressive to make it onto the rankings on your first try. I play with my classmates sometimes, but we usually get taken out before clearing the level. Asanagi, let's play one more time. Sure. Although we initially planned to play just once, it felt like my body was finally warming up, so we decided to play one more round. While the game was just for fun, if we're gonna do it, we might as well take it seriously. Hey, Miharu. What? Are you having fun? Before I knew it, Asanagi was peering into my face with a smile, feeling embarrassed as she caught me off guard. I felt a little embarrassed. Well, it's all right, I guess. What about you, Asanagi? Well, it's all right. Asanagi mimicked my tone. Don't copy me. I'm not copying you. It's how I really feel. Look, enemies are coming. With just that, Asanagi aimed the gun-shaped controller back at the screen. Initially, I was just going along with Asanagi, but now it felt like I'm the one leading her around. But perhaps that's fine. You are. Then, after enjoying the shooting game, we moved on to the batting cage, which is also available for play with medals. Asanagi demonstrated first on the 120 km/h machine. 120 km/h is quite challenging for girls, but Asanagi was effortlessly hitting sharp hits one after another. Impressive. Well, when you grow up with a powerful best friend, it just comes naturally. Besides, you need to move your body and sweat occasionally. Asanagi emerged with a satisfied expression. her forehead glistening with sweat. Even in slightly oversized clothes, Asanargi's figure was evident. While she may be laid back when she's with me, she keeps herself in good shape otherwise. That's why she's able to take on a central role in our class with Amami-san. I hit a home run, so we have one free round. So, here you go, Mihara. Me too? Of course. Mihara needs some exercise occasionally too. However, I've never swung a bat, not even a lightweight toy one. I'm not particularly good at sports, and baseball was a completely foreign concept to me, so I might not even be able to hit a single ball. It's okay, even if you miss. I'm the only one watching. I trust Asanagi, but I still don't want to show any embarrassing moments. If I can help it, I'm counting on you. If you hit even one ball forward, I'll treat you to juice. Oh, but no bunting too. Guess I have no choice. The purpose was to get some exercise, and there's no one else around right now, so let's get it over with quickly. I took the bat and helmet from Asanagi and stepped up to the plate. The ball speed was the same as Asanagi's, 120 km/h3, even though Asanagi told me to swing late if I needed to. If she can do it, then I can too, even if it's just one pitch. First pitch. Then, oh, it didn't seem that fast from the outside, but once I stepped into the batter's box, I was surprised by its speed. Is 120 km/h really this fast? Impossible. Hey, Mihara, you're getting nervous, Tilda. I am not nervous. Gathering my courage, I swung at the second pitch, but it was a swing and a miss. The bat swung emptily through the air. Mihara, first make sure to properly see the ball. Then imagine hitting it with the bat. Don't worry about hitting it far for now. Why, a third pitch, fourth pitch, I swung the bat following Asanagi's advice, but still missed. Amidst the resounding sound of strikes around me, I was building a mountain of misses all by myself. It's okay, you're doing good. The ball and the bat are getting closer little by little. I appreciate the advice, but is it okay for you to be sending salt to the enemy like this for? That's true. But seeing your melancholic back after a miss, Mihara, I can't help but want to comfort you. Come on, keep going. Just 3 more pitches to go. While receiving Asanagi's encouragement, I focus on hitting the ball solidly. Since I've come this far, I want to manage at least one pitch somehow. Watch the ball carefully and swing the bat there. Thud. Oh, I hit it. Well, it didn't go forward, but that felt good. The ball grazed the top of the bat and went backward. All right, this time for sure. Thunk. Are so close. This time it's low. It also went backward, but it felt better than earlier. Just a little more downward swing. One more pitch. You can do it, Mihara. The final pitch, same course as before. Watch carefully and swing. With Asanagi's advice and encouragement behind me, I swing the bat with all my might. All right, good job. Thanks. After using up all the medals, Asanagi and I sat on the sofa in the rest area, drinking juice courtesy of Asanagi. As a result of the batting, the ball went forward, but only as a weak grounder that didn't even reach the machine. I hit it, but it felt unsatisfying. Asanagi. And I'll make sure to hit it next time. You're motivated. Well, we'll come back again then. Now, despite feeling exhausted from doing something unfamiliar, I thought it was somewhat enjoyable in the end. I'm not sure if it's because of the game or simply because I was with my friend, Asanagi. But still, it was a good enough experience in itself alone that I want to come again. It's about time to go home. Yaho, before that, I'll go to the restroom. So wait here. Saying that, Asanagi hands me her bag and heads towards the back of the store. It contains valuables, but even so, she entrusted everything to me for the time being. Well, it's reassuring to be trusted by her like this. I never thought I'd be hanging out like this with Asanagi. Strange things do happen as I absent-mindedly watch a pair of friends, a boy and a girl, enjoying a game together. I mutter to myself, until I met Asanagi. I had 0 friends, while Asanagi has many and plays a central role in our class. Before, it would have been impossible for our paths to cross, but now, somehow, they are firmly connected. Several months had passed since that disastrous self-introduction at the entrance ceremony a few months ago. I had resigned myself to spending 3 years of high school alone. Yet now, next to me, is the second cutest girl. Maybe taking courage and enduring embarrassment is what it's all about. Basically, people like me care too much about what others think. I don't want to be made fun of. I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to fail thinking only of these things. I end up hesitating when it's time to act. Even if there's someone I want to be friends with or someone I like, the risk of failure hinders my actions. That's why I was alone for so long. However, thanks to my failures, I have Asanagi as a friend now. Failure doesn't necessarily mean the end of the road. From there, new paths can open up. Perhaps that's what Asanagi taught me. Well, Asanagi should be back soon. I should start packing up. As I put Asanargi's bag over my shoulder and stood up from the sofa. Could it be Miharu-kun? From behind me, I heard a voice. Oh, it's definitely Miharu-kun. Miharu-kun. Just then, a person emerging from the crane game area enthusiastically waves and approaches me. They are wearing our school uniform. Even in this dim light, they were easily recognizable, and yet the person I least wanted to meet was standing right in front of me now. Amami-san. Yep, it's me, your classmate. Amami-san told her with an angelic smile. The most beautiful girl in the class was standing right in front of me. It's fortunate that Asanagi isn't here, but I never expected to be approached by Amami-san. If I were alone, I'd never be noticed by anyone other than Asanagi in the class, I thought, but I had forgotten about this person. Yuchin, do you know him? Nanake. We met before. Or rather, we're classmates. Sorry. But hey, I didn't recognize him in casual clothes. You know, beside her were Niter-san and the other classmates. Except for Amami-san, they were wearing expressions that seemed to be subtly masking their recognition of me. Well, I don't care about them. Right now, I need to figure out how to handle this person in front of me. I can't let Asanagi and Amami-san run into each other now. So Miharu-kun comes here too. It's the first time we've met like this. Yeah. Casually, I picked up my smartphone and quietly dialed Asanagi, putting it on speaker mode. I didn't have time to send a message, so I hope she notices this somehow. Were you here with someone? That makes sense. It's a little boring to play alone in a place like this. No, I was just taking a break really. I saw you carrying drinks for two earlier, so I thought you were with a friend. She saw that. Amami-san's ability to notice even someone like me in this dimly lit place plus with my all-black outfit is truly remarkable, though it is inconvenient. However, despite our encounter during the confession incident, I had forgotten about her. But I'm glad. It's good to see you have friends like that. I was actually a little worried since you were mostly alone in class. Is that so? But I actually prefer being alone. Really? Well, if you ever feel lonely, feel free to talk to me anytime. If you invite me to lunch or something, I'll eat with you. That's, a bit Amami-san might be saying that out of pure goodwill, but even so, I shouldn't really accept her invitation. Don't butt in when you're alone. The atmosphere from Amami-san's entourage, mostly boys, conveyed that message clearly. Anyway, I'll just take your concern for now. Well then, wait a moment. As I tried to leave this place quickly and pass by Amami-san, she grabbed my shoulder from behind. I have a bad feeling about this. What? Hey, if it's okay with you, would you like to hang out with us from now on? Of course, along with Miharu-kun's friend too. I unintentionally made a strange noise. Hey Yuchin, isn't that a bit too much on Miharu-kun? Wouldn't it bother him too? He might have his own plans too, you know. Is it not okay? I think it would be much more fun with a big group. Well, I can't say for sure, but it's typical of Amami-san to involve people with her cheerful personality. But right now, she felt a bit out of control. Maybe if Asanagi were here by Amami-san's side, she could warn her as a best friend. But she isn't here right now. Hey, it'll definitely be fun. Or maybe, does Nina-chan dislike Miharu-kun? No, I don't think so, but you know. Among them, Amami-san is probably closest with Niter-san, but due to their shallow relationship, it seems she can't speak up to Amami-san like Asanagi can. Trying to restrain the free-spirited Amami-san and understand the atmosphere of the others, including Niter-san, was something I could only vaguely imagine when listening to Asanargi's stories. But facing such a situation now, I could truly understand it. Asanagi was probably tired of this kind of thing and sought refuge with me. That must be exhausting. Mihara-kun, did you say something? And nothing. I was thinking about something else anyway, about what you said earlier. Yeah, what do you think? I'm sorry, but I definitely can't. Amarmi-sen's face, which had been bright until then, darkened at my words. I knew using strong words like definitely can't wasn't particularly good, but for some reason I felt a little irritated at that moment. Mihara-kun, I am not denying Amarmi-sen's thoughts or anything. I think having fun together with everyone is probably enjoyable, and I think that's normal. There was a time when I wanted to join that circle, and even now, there are times when I envy it. But, I think there are people who don't fit in with that kind of thing, or who are not good at it. People who feel tired from trying to fit in, trying not to dampen the mood like me, for example. I understand the importance of maintaining harmony within a group. Sometimes you have to endure a little, otherwise society wouldn't function properly. But is it really something that must always be endured? Is it wrong to sometimes do what you like selfishly, without worrying about how it affects others? For example, like Asanagi today. I said a lot, but anyway, today me and my friend had a promise to hang out together alone, and both I and my friend aren't really into that kind of atmosphere, so sorry. Wait, Mihara-kun. Well then, Amarmi-sen. That's how it is, sorry. I gently brushed off Amarmi-sen's hand and left the place. I felt like someone said something to me as I left, but thanks to the noise inside the facility, I couldn't hear it. It doesn't matter now how others perceive me. Being socially awkward is nothing new to me. Confirming that no one was following me from behind, I returned my phone to its normal state, still connected to Asanagi, and brought it close to my ear. Thank you, Mihara. You saved me. You're welcome. It's time to go home, right? Yeah. We agreed to meet again at the ticket gate of the station, and Asanagi and I left the game center separately. It was already almost 10 p.m. There were still many people in front of the station, but most of them were adults. It was time for high school students to go home. Buying tickets and passing through the ticket gate, Asanagi noticed me and peeked out from behind a pillar. After nodding slightly to each other and raising our hands, Asanagi and I went to the platform together. Just asking, but did you bump into Amarmi-san too? If I did, I wouldn't be standing beside you. Well, that's true. Geez. If that's the case, it seems there's no problem with us going home on the same train. We went to the front of the platform and waited for the next train to arrive. While the station announcements echoed inside, there was silence between Asanagi and me. Glancing at Asanargi's profile, it seemed like Asanagi was looking at me too, and our eyes met in silence. The horror, what's up? And nothing. Really, how about you? Me too, nothing at times like this. What should I talk about? I was a little troubled. Starting from the anime shop and ending with batting, I had so much fun that I lost track of time. But maybe because of the encounter with Amarmi-san and the others at the end, it was a bit hard to start a conversation right now. This has been going on for about a year now. That's when I really started getting into my current hobby. I thought I should tell you about it. Do you have a little time? Sure. With a weak smile, Asanagi began to talk about her past. Boasting is it? I've always been sort of a leader or a coordinator since a long time ago. I was smart and well, I was pretty cute and stood out, you know? Quite the self-praise. Well, let's leave that aside for now. Anyway, I used to do things like being the class representative or a member of the school events committee, taking the lead on everything. I kinder liked being relied upon by everyone. Of course, even now a model student burdened with everyone's expectations, that must be the image Asanagi Yumi has among her classmates. In fact, even I, before becoming friends with Asanagi myself, held that impression. But you know, as time went on, I started thinking, what am I doing? The kids who used to be grateful at first gradually started to act like it was natural for me to do everything. At school, in our free time, you feel like you're being burdened with unpleasant things. No. Well, it wasn't good for me to endure unpleasant things without saying anything. Once it gets to that point, the vicious cycle won't stop. Even if you started out enjoying it, once your role becomes established and you're forced into it, you gradually start to dislike it. Various things happened like that, and when I felt mentally a bit shaky, I came across You Mean Your Current Hobby. Yeah, there were a lot of those in my brother's room from the beginning. Until then, I didn't really have much interest in games except for puzzle games on my phone. And at first, I wasn't really interested. I think that's how it usually goes when you get hooked. When you're mentally exhausted, a captivating scenario, character, or sound can pull you into the swamp in one go. At least, that's how it is for me. So, for a while I secretly enjoyed various things alone, but, well, since I originally liked hanging out with someone, I started wanting friends in that area too. Friends with whom I could talk face to face and share feelings, not just on social media. And so, after transferring from an all-girls school, she came across my self-introduction. I see, if only you had reached out to me earlier. Yeah, but at that time, you were potentially gonna be the first male friend for me. I didn't want to mess up, so I became a bit cautious. Plus, I didn't really have many chances to talk to you and I was embarrassed. In that case, Asanagi must have been watching me all the way since April, making a self-introduction card just to show me, peeking at my condition, doing such innocent things. The moment I thought about that, my heart suddenly skipped a beat. What is this feeling? It's itching, but it doesn't feel particularly unpleasant. Miharu, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? And no, I'm fine. The train's here. Let's get on. To distract Asanagi, who was looking worriedly into my face, we boarded the train heading towards the nearest station. It's just the right time on a weekend night, so the train is moderately crowded with office workers finishing work or university students returning from drinking parties. Huff as soon as we got on and took a breath, my legs wobbled slightly. Besides shopping and arcade games, I was physically and mentally exhausted, especially after my first time batting and the encounter with Amami-san. Miharu, are you okay? There's a seat over there. Why don't you sit down? No, I just felt a little dizzy. What about you, Asanagi? I'm in better shape than you. Don't worry about it. Here. Then, I'll take your word for it. I was seated in the only available seat in the middle, and Asanagi settled in front of me. Sorry, Miharu. You had a hard time because of me today. As the train started moving, with its rhythmic sounds and vibrations, Asanagi held onto the hanging strap with both hands and looked at me. The matter with Amami-san? Yeah, I heard the whole conversation clearly. Yeah, that I had accomplished my goal of informing her about Amami-san's presence. But looking back on it now, I seemed to have said quite embarrassing things. Amami-san must have felt uncomfortable too. It's not something you should worry about, Asanagi. It's my fault. But because of that you said such things, and you might get treated even worse than now. Yeah, that's true. But of course I know there was no ill intention on Amami-san's part. Amami-san invited me because she was worried about me always being alone at school, and she thought it would be bad to isolate me further. However, I rejected Amami-san's offer. Despite having Asanagi, my first friend with whom I can act without reservation and enjoy just being with her, I somehow felt like my mood was being dampened. Then I got irritated and froze the atmosphere, and then I ran away. It's too late to regret it now, but I did something unlike me. Well, I'll put in a suitable follow-up from my side later. That girl also has a sensitive side, so she'll definitely call later. Oh, I've already received a message. That was quick, by the way. What did Amami-san say? Larcy, Amami, you mean? What should I do? I just saw Miharu-kun earlier, but I might have upset him. Asanagi's phone was filled with messages and call history from Amami-san. It seems I've worried her after all. I should have handled it a little better, but in trying to protect Asanagi, I couldn't pay attention to other things. Sorry, I ended up causing trouble. It's fine. We can help each other when we're in trouble. That's what friends are for, right? Friends, huh? Yeah, that's right. Saying that, Asanagi reached out her hand to my head and gently started patting me. What's this? Nothing. Your head was just in a good position. I see. Yeah, it feels like I'm being treated like a child, but I'm a little tired from playing, and I don't really mind Asanagi touching me, so I'll let it go. the trains swaying and the gentle warmth of Asanagi's palm on my skin. Little by little, my eyelids become heavier. You can sleep if you're sleepy. I'll wake you up when we're near the station. Yeah, thank you. Without resisting the pleasant drowsiness, I closed my eyes slowly. Thanks, Mackie. As my consciousness drifted further away, I felt like I heard a whisper in my ear. Asterisk, 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 Puricura, a shortened form of print club in Japanese, refers to photo sticker booths that print out stickers of photo portraits set against backgrounds and frames selected by the user. Right arrow curving left. A bunt is a batting technique in baseball or fast-pitch softball. Official baseball rules define a bunt as follows. A bunt is a batted ball not swung at, but intentionally met with the bat and tapped slowly within the infield. To bunt, the batter loosely holds the bat in front of home plate and intentionally taps the ball into play. A properly executed bunt will create weak contact with the ball and slash or strategically direct it, forcing the infielders to make a difficult defensive play to record an out. Right arrow curving left for Americans. This is 74.56 my. Right arrow curving left salt was used as a currency back in ancient civilizations. The idiom here means to show humanity to your enemy when they are weak. Right arrow curving left. Chapter 3 Asanagi Yumi and Amami you the following week. Monday, the depressing start of the week for most people, including students and members of the workforce. Of course, I wasn't an exception, but today I felt even more depressed than usual. Will it be okay? I sighed as I looked at the silhouette of my school, built atop a small hill. The reason for my worry was, of course, what happened last weekend. I'd said unnecessary things to Amami and her group, and as more time passed, the more embarrassed I felt when I remembered that scene. I'm sorry, but I definitely can't. I know. It's too late to regret it now, but why did I, a mere loner, have to act all high and mighty, as if I knew everything? I can't go into the classroom. The atmosphere will definitely turn awkward in an instant. Asanagi would cover for me regarding Amami, but our classmates won't be so understanding. I can see it all now. Cheerful groups of classmates chatting away, only to look at me with malice the moment I walk in, as if they are looking at garbage. Turning from being an invisible part of the class to becoming a clear outcast. Maybe I'm overthinking it, and it might just be needless anxiety. In times like these, it would lighten my mood if I had someone to consult with. Someone to consult with, well, there's Asanagi. Besides my family, she's the only other person registered in my phone's contact list. If I talked to her, she'd definitely listen. She might tease me, but she's upfront and reliable, so I trust her on that. However, I felt that it wouldn't be right to cry to Asanagi so easily. At school, everyone relies on her. Amami, our classmates, even the homeroom teacher. She's a top student with excellent grades and conduct. But I know that even Asanagi sometimes wants to escape from her everyday role and be free. I remember what she told me last week. Coincidentally, she found a friend who shared her hobby, mustered up the courage to talk to me, and finally found an escape. I can't lean on her now. If I did, she wouldn't have anywhere to escape to. Well, that's just an excuse. In reality, I'm just too scared to contact her with such a trivial problem. Hey, good morning. Good morning. I muttered my reply to the PE teacher greeting us students at the school gate and headed to the classroom. It was just before the morning homeroom started. Almost everyone was already in class except for some students who were still at morning practice. I made my way to my seat as discreetly as possible. For now, the situation I feared hasn't come into fruition. Miharu-kun, you're a bit late today. Good morning, I just overslept a bit. The small talk with Oyama-kun was as usual, and there were no strange whispers. If the day could end peacefully like this, it would be great. Just as I thought that. Miharu-kun, can I talk to you for a moment? Amami approached me as I sat down and put my textbook on my desk, her soft blonde hair swaying. Instantly, the lively classroom fell silent. Hamishi called my name, so I knew it was me, but I couldn't help asking. All eyes in the class were on me. The class, or perhaps the entire grade's most beautiful girl, had something to say to the biggest Lona. That was probably the shared belief. From my perspective, it was something I'd rather avoid but it was bound to attract attention. I'm sorry to bother you so suddenly. I wanted to talk about what happened last Friday. Is that okay? No, I don't mind, but what's going on? What's this about? No idea, but as my classmates whispered among themselves, I glanced at Asanagi. I didn't know what she and Amami talked about over the weekend, but she must have advised her to apologize sooner rather than later. Asanagi made a sour face and put her hands together in an apologetic manner, which meant that Amami's actions were unexpected even to her. I'm really sorry for upsetting you the other day. I assumed you'd have more fun hanging out with everyone without knowing anything about you, and I said something insensitive. No, I'm the one who should apologize. I knew you meant no harm, but I responded poorly. So, there's no need for you to apologize. Amami's expression was visibly gloomy, clearly bothered by the incident. I wished she wouldn't worry about me, or rather, that she would just leave me alone, but it seemed unacceptable to her. She's not a bad person, and that's one of Amami's good qualities, but stirring up unnecessary speculations by defying Asanagi's restraint was a bit much. So, do you forgive me? Are you not mad anymore? Yeah, I'm not mad anymore, and I regret how I reacted then. If anything, I should apologize. No, it's okay. I'm the one who's sorry. Just as we both bowed our heads, the chime signaling the end of our time rang, and the homeroom teacher entered the classroom. It was perfect timing because if this had continued, it would have become a battle of apologies. All right, everyone, take your seats, huh? What's with the atmosphere? Something going on? The teacher looked puzzled, and most of the class felt the same way. That's how surprising the previous incident must have been. Of course, even I, someone involved, was surprised. Anyway, I'm not worried about it. So, let's consider this matter settled. Yeah, thanks, Miharu-kun. But I'd like to talk a little more. Do you have time today? Well, I'm free, but it's not like I had any plans today or the foreseeable future. Then it's settled. I'll contact you about the time later. Oh, is the number you gave me still the same? And the moment Amami let that slip, it was like another bomb dropped in the class. Wait, did you hear that? Does he have Amami-san's contact number? Is this not their first conversation? Man, that's so unfair. The not-so-hidden whispers reached my ears. She must have said it without thinking, but it was a bit too much. Did I say something wrong? Amami-san, that was supposed to be a secret char. She only just remembered. The first time I talked with Amami wasn't at the arcade last Friday, but earlier behind the storage shed. I had already apologized to Asanagi for secretly observing her and got her forgiveness, but my meeting and exchange of contact info with Amami were supposed to be secrets. So, what I was most afraid of were not my classmates. Anyway. Talk to you later. Why, yeah. After Amami trotted back to her seat, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I already knew who the message was from. The sender, on the other hand, had already taken out her textbook and was looking at the blackboard. Asanagi, okay. The moment I saw Asanagi's message, a small gasp escaped from the back of my throat. I knew I would have to sincerely apologize, but would Asanagi forgive me with just a bow? The morning's incident quickly became the day's trending topic in class. Even after homeroom ended, noon passed, and the final classes concluded. The curious glances, whispers, and gossipy remarks directed at me didn't stop. In fact, they only worsened as time went on. In reality, my only connection with Amami-san was that I happened to be there when Asanagi was confessed to. Sure, I gave her my contact info, but until recently we hadn't even spoken beyond that. Hey, what do you think the relationship between Amami-san and that guy is? It's shocking, right? Could they actually be dating? No way, that's impossible. Then what's the deal with what happened last week? Who knows? Some kind of love triangle. Nar, that can't be it. But the people around me didn't care about the truth and kept speculating about my relationship with Amami-san all day long. Honestly, they have too much time on their hands. Sorry for the wait, Miharu-kun. Let's go. Yet even though Amami-san must have heard all the background noise, she approached me with her usual radiant smile, completely unfazed. And of course, Asanagi was with her. Sorry, I felt it might be awkward with just the two of us. So is it all right if Yumi tags along? No, I don't mind at all. In fact, I needed Asanagi to be there. While I could talk comfortably with Asanagi since we were friends, that comfort didn't extend to Amami-san. Sorry, Mihara-kun. I get nervous being alone with a boy, but don't worry. Yumi is good at keeping secrets. I see. I naturally trusted her in that regard. After all, she had kept our secret friendship from even her closest friends. Okay, let's get going then, Mihara-kun. Why yes, Asanagi-san. We shook hands, both pretending as if it was the first time we spoke, though it felt like her grip was a bit strong. No, it was painful. Painful enough that I wanted her to let go soon. With my hands seriously hurting at this point, I walked home with the cutest girl in class and the second cutest girl in class. From left to right, it was Amami-san, me, and Asanagi. I was practically sandwiched between the two beauties. I felt like I wanted to escape, but being flanked by the two of them restricted my movement. Hey you. It seems like Nanak is the same as ever. And Nitter-sen, she's tailing us from behind. She's pretty good at it too. Asanagi whispered into my ear. Sure enough, I could see a ponytail with a scrunchie peeking out from a little ways behind us. I hadn't noticed until Asanagi pointed it out, but it seemed the two had already caught on. Well, I guess it's only natural for friends to notice such things. So should we do that to lose Nadaki? Yumi, yeah. Amami-san and Asanagi whispered something to each other on either side of me. It seemed they had a plan. Are you two planning to do something to Nitter-san? We are only gonna ditch her. It's only natural if we're being followed, right? I guessed so. Being followed wasn't pleasant, so I decided to go along with them. We'll split up and run at the T-junction up ahead. I'll go left with Mihara-kun. You go right. Got it. Oh, where should we meet up? There aren't many places around here, so a restaurant or something. Meeting up how? It should usually be a family restaurant for students, but Nitter-san would obviously be familiar with those places too. A place where no one from class would know, and we could talk freely. How about my house? Mihara-kun's house. No, it's close by, and no one from class knows it. Plus, my parents won't be home at this time. My mom works late, so she wouldn't be back until midnight. The conditions seemed right. Besides, since Asanagi had started coming over recently, I had been keeping the place relatively tidy. You mean, what do you think? Well, Mihara-kun doesn't seem to mean any harm, so it should be fine. It's cost-effective and logical, but the two girls didn't seem pleased. Did I say something wrong? No, it's not like that. It's just you is saying that it might be a bit weird to invite a girl over to your house despite barely knowing each other. GG's Yumi. Thanks to Asanari's remark, I realized that from an outsider's perspective, this was basically our first proper conversation, and it was similar for Amami-san. Inviting someone to a private space like my home might not be appropriate yet. I remember Asanagi gently pointing that out to me before. Sorry, I didn't mean anything by it. I just thought it would be a good idea. It's okay. I'm not doubting you, Mihara-kun. I was just a bit surprised. This is my first time visiting a boy's house. Still, Amami-san's ears turned bright red. Though she interacted with the boys in class, it seemed she had clear boundaries. All right then, it's settled. The meeting place is Mihara-kun's house at 5. I'll go with him first and send you the location later. Understood. Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3. At Asanagi's signal, we split up and dashed in different directions. They ran away. Wait up, Nitter-san's voice echoed from behind, but this was a residential area with winding streets, so once we turned a corner, it would be hard for her to catch up. Who cares what the paparazzi says? This way, Mihara. Hey, wait! Asanagi naturally grabbed my hand, and we ran together, illuminated by the orange hues of the setting sun. Asanagi. But you seem to be having fun. Really? Maybe it's just your imagination. Whether it was because we were running or because of the tension, I felt Asanagi's hand was slightly damp, pulling me along half a step ahead. After successfully losing Nitter-san and returning home, Asanagi and I prepared some snacks and tea. Before long, the intercom buzzed. Hey, Mihara-kun. It's Amami, you reporting in. The intercom screen showed Amami-san's cheerful, cute smile, slightly damp with sweat from running. Sorry, I'll unlock it now, so come on in. Okay, I unlocked the door and waited for Amami-san to come in. My apartment was a bit messy since it was an unexpected visit, but that couldn't be helped. I quickly tossed my mom's scattered pajamas into the washing machine and tidied up the living room table. Mihara, where's the plates? We should put the snacks on a plate. Right. They are in the cabinet next to the fridge on the top shelf. Use the guest set. There should be cups and saucers too. Got it. With Asanagi's help, we quickly set up a table befitting a simple tea party. And although she was also a guest, Asanagi insisted on helping. Sorry, but I don't have much experience with this kind of thing. Don't worry, it's no biggie. With Asanagi's assistance, the preparations were quickly done. I'm coming in? Whoa, so this is Mihara-kun's house. Sorry it's so cramped. I live here with my mom. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude, it's just this is my first time visiting a boy's house. So I was a bit nervous. Amami-san's cheeks turned a soft pink as she looked down shyly. Her reaction was adorable and innocent. What is it, Mihara-kun? That's something to say? And no, nothing. Asanagi, lounging on the sofa, gave me a somewhat piercing look, compared to how she had been a bit curious. As she looked around my house when she first came over, she was now entirely at ease. Since this was her first official visit, I signaled her to be polite and guided Amami-san to the living room table. Wow, a cookie tin. I love these. They seem so fancy. Really, these are the ones I bought for guests before, so help yourself. Really? Yeah. Hey, Yumi, wanna eat together too? Yeah. Oh, but before that, make sure to wipe off your sweat. Here's a handkerchief. Thanks, but I can do this much myself. Don't treat me like a kid. High schoolers are still kids, you know. Make sure to wash your hands before you eat. But geez, ignoring the pouting Amami-san, Asanagi continued to take care of her with ease. This was a common sight at school, reflecting their usual selves. They seemed more like sisters. Asanagi looked after Amami-san, who pouted but went along with it. Their appearances added to the picturesque scene. Amami-san, what do you want or drink? Coffee, tea. We also have green tea. I'll go with coffee. And I'd like a lot of sugar and milk, please. I'm not good with bitter stuff. Roger, you really love sweet things, don't you? Yeah. Oh, so you remember my introduction? Yeah. Well, you were quite memorable back then. I set the kettle on the stove and started preparing the coffee. Amami-san liked hers with lots of sugar and milk, mine with just sugar. As for Asanagi, she prefers it bitter, so just milk for her. Oh, hey, Yumi, don't you want anything? Mihara-kun is making coffee for you, too. The moment Amami-san said that, I froze with my back to them. I forgot to ask Asanagi for her preference since making one for her had become second nature by now. Despite inviting them over to my place, I almost neglected the fact that this was meant to be my first meeting with Asanagi. I already asked before you came. Coffee, no sugar, with milk. Right, Mihara-kun? Why, yeah, that's right. Asanagi's speedy intervention saved me. Since we were alone together at my house earlier, her response didn't seem out of place. She's as reliable as ever. Well then, before we get to last week's topic, you and Mihara-kun. Yes, what is it? How do you two know each other's phone numbers? Asanagi looked at us with a piercing gaze, her mouth smiling but her eyes not at all. Told her about that we quickly confessed and apologized earnestly. I see. I had a feeling it was something like that. Sorry, Yumi. I knew I shouldn't snoop, but I couldn't help being curious about you. I'm sorry, too, for keeping it a secret. Why are you apologizing, Mihara-kun? You got dragged into it, Inanaki and me. You did nothing wrong. Still, I couldn't stop you two from snooping. Although Asanagi had forgiven me for the snooping, I still felt guilty about hiding the contact information. Seriously, you, Mihara-kun, come closer. Like this. Nah. Following her instruction, Amami-san and I brought our faces closer to Asanagi. The next moment, a sharp pain struck my forehead. Ouch, all right, punishment over. Asanagi's finger flick was surprisingly powerful, leaving my forehead throbbing. Wait, actually I'm bleeding. I'm not angry, but it was necessary. You, doesn't this feel better? Yes, sorry, Mihara-kun. I dragged you into this. No, it's fine, it really hurts though. This time, it ended with this. but I resolved not to keep secrets from Asanagi in the future. I didn't want her experience her flick again. All right, this is over. The next time you do this, I'll be serious though. Art. She wasn't serious. That flick was already so intense, so I couldn't dare to imagine what serious meant. Amami-san, when I looked at Amami-san, she nodded silently, her face pale. Serious, wanna try it? I'll pass. Asanagi's flicks were terrifying. Anyway, with this resolved, we could finally move on to the main topic after enjoying the snacks while they are still warm. These cookies are good. Here, you may try the one with chocolate. Yeah, it's tasty. If you alternate it with these lightly salted chips, you get a nice sweet and salty taste. Exactly. This is bad news for our waistlines. The two were feeding each other snacks, and their usual close bond was clear. Such close friendships seem rare. Oh, sorry. Here, Miharu-kun, have some. Thanks. Taking the cookie offered by Amami-san, I bit into it. How is it? Tasty. Yeah, I chose them, after all. The butter and dark chocolate had a nice balance of flavors. Miharu-kun, this one is good too. You're right, it is. Following Amami-san's recommendation, I nibbled on the cookie. Although I liked cookies, they tended to crumble easily. As I carefully ate to avoid crumbs, I noticed Amami-san watching me with a smile. Amami-san, sorry, thought you looked really cute while eating. See cute me? Her unexpected comment made my heart skip a beat. I sometimes ate like this, but it was the first time someone called it cute. Embarrassment washed over me, heating my cheeks. You're blushing. Miharu-kun, you're adorable. No, I'm not knowing how to respond. I looked to Asanagi for help. You, enough with the snack time. We need to get to the main topic. That's why I'm here. Right, sorry. Miharu-kun, my bad. No, it's fine, really. Thanks to Asanagi, we managed to get back on topic, though she seemed annoyed. Idiot. I saw Asanagi mouth her complaints. Did I do something wrong? Sorry to bring it up again, but Miharu-kun, I apologize for last week. I was insensitive. No, I'm sorry too for how I acted. I bowed, recalling last week's events and explaining why I reacted as I did. I shared my honest feelings about my discomfort in large groups and how I felt interrupted while having fun with a friend. Amami-san listened intently without interrupting. Despite the embarrassment, I felt it necessary to convey this to her. I see. So you really love that friend of yours, don't you? No, that's Miharu-kun, something wrong. Nothing, that's one way to see it. As a friend, they are important to me. Feeling embarrassed, I couldn't look at Asanagi. What kind of expression was she making? Anyway, I've reflected on last week and want to move past it. So I'd appreciate it if you could too. Okay, thanks. Let's shake on it. Sure. Amami-san gripped and shook my hand vigorously. Good for you, you. Thanks, Yumi. It's thanks to you that I could make up with Miharu-kun. You're welcome. Though I initially thought it would have been a bother, at least now, last week's issue had been settled. There will be strange speculations about my relationship with Amami, but if I ignore them, they should eventually settle down. The class popular girl and the loner ones, we return to our separate worlds. There shouldn't be any trouble. All right then, you. Now that we've finished, let's head home. If we stay too long, we might inconvenience Miharu-kun. Yeah, but since we've made up, there's one more thing I want to ask Miharu-kun. Is that okay? Well, I don't mind, but what is it? Well, as we were about to leave after tidying up, Amami-san turned to face me. Miharu-kun, if you don't want her, you can say no, okay? All right, but what is it? Well, Amami-san continued, fidgeting. Miharu-kun, would you be my friend? Both Asanagi and I, who were standing next to Amami-san, froze at her sudden request. I thought we had found a peaceful resolution, but it seems my relationship with Amami-san would continue for a while. The next day, Amami-san, who apparently became my friend, immediately approached me. Maki-kun, good morning. Nice day, isn't it? Good morning, yeah, it is. Geez, Maki-kun, you don't have to be so formal. Amami-san pouted cutely, but that was something I unfortunately couldn't focus on right now. The stares from my classmates were piercing. Hey, Yujin, just to confirm, Maki-kun is a Don't be silly, Inaki. Of course it's Mihara-kun. Mihara-Maki-kun. Did you forget his name? And no, it's not. That knitter-sen might not have known my name, but she was certainly surprised about my relationship with Amami-san. I mean, yesterday I was Mihara-kun, but today I'm Maki-kun. Surely, some people would make strange assumptions. Yuchin, you've gotten quite close with him. Did something happen? Yes. I made up with Maki-kun and we became friends. Right, Maki-kun? The classroom buzzed with chatter after Amami-san's radiant smile and words. The reaction today was even stronger than yesterday. Seriously, Amami-san with that guy, does he have some kind of leverage over her or something? What leverage? I can't think of anything. People were saying whatever they wanted, but I had given up on that. The conclusion is I became friends with Amami-san yesterday. That's why she's calling me by my first name. I don't care what others think. I think Maki-kun is a really good person. He might be quiet usually, but he has his own opinions. He can express them, and he's smart to me. He's like Yumi. Asanagi and I might have similar ways of thinking, but that seems like an overestimation. Right, Yumi? You understand, don't you? You were with us yesterday. Even best friends can't understand everything probably. Really, Tilda, but you and Maki-kun would become great friends if you exchanged contact information. Well, I'm a girl, so I gotta be careful about such things. Amami-san doesn't know that we frequently communicate, so we had to play it off. However, it seems Amami-san saw me and Asanagi in such a way. She might be more perceptive than I thought. By the way, Maki-kun, are you eating lunch alone today? Yeah, I usually do. Then, let's have lunch together today. Lunch together. The classroom erupted after Amami-san's suggestion. Yushin, that's a bit too much really. Maki-kun said he's not good with crowds, so I thought it would be better with just the two of us. Is that bad? Well, it's not like it's terrible, but what do you think, Mihara-kun? Yeah, that would make me nervous. Asanagi aside, having lunch alone with Amami-san, who is like an idol in our class and even the grade, made me nervous just thinking about it. See, Mihara-kun feels the same. Then how about Yumi joins us? It would be 3 people, like how Yumi was with us yesterday. Is that okay, Maki-kun? Well, even if it's 3 people, it might still be a problem if Asanagi is involved. However, if I stubbornly refuse here, it might worsen my classmates' opinion of me. It's unreasonable, but it can't be helped. All right. Then today, I'll have lunch with Asanagi-san and Amami-san. Really? Amami-san raised her arms in celebration after I agreed. Even though there's nothing special about eating with me, is she a nice person or just strange? Thank you, Maki-kun. Hey, Yumi, Maki-kun said it's okay. Yeah, that's great. Sorry, Mihara-kun, for this little princess's selfishness. No, it's fine with me. In the end, I had to rely on Asanagi again. While it's understood that we'd help each other out, I wanted to handle it alone if possible. After making the promise, we returned to our seats, and I quickly sent a secret message to Asanagi. Mihara, sorry, Asanagi. I couldn't handle it alone. Asanagi, it couldn't be helped. It's not like our relationship got exposed. Let's move on. Mihara, yeah. Thanks, Asanagi. I'm glad you helped me there. Asanagi, no problem. Friends should help each other in times like this. Asanagi, so Mihara, so? Asanagi, sorry, typo. Nothing. We ended the exchange there as I looked at Asanagi, who was still glued to her phone. Her face looked a bit redder than usual. Before I knew it, it was lunchtime. The 4 hours, including breaks, seemed to fly by. Finally, Tilda, morning classes are over. It usually feels faster, don't you think, Yumi? Well, I feel the opposite to Asanagi, and I exchanged glances. She was also thinking about lunch. Naturally, our classmates were curious too. I wished they'd leave, but even those who usually left quickly lingered today. Seriously, we're just having lunch together, Nina. Put away your phone now. Oh, okay. Asanagi's voice made Nittersan's phone slip out of her sleeve. She always kept her phone ready, like a spy itching to eavesdrop. It's too noisy here. Let's go outside, even if it's a little chilly. Now, it should be fine if we find a sunny spot. Is that okay, Mihara-kun? Sure, I don't mind. So, we left the classroom to find a good spot. Where do you think? Yumi? I usually eat in the classroom or cafeteria, so I'm not sure. The courtyard is typical, but it can be crowded. We're okay. But what about Miharu-kun? Even if it's crowded, there are plenty of places to sit if not at a table. So if they don't mind, I don't either. Hey, are those girls first years? I think so. They're super cute, especially the blonde one. And who's the plain guy with them? What's up with that? I knew eating in such a place wouldn't be pleasant. If you two don't mind, Ham. What? I spoke to the two discussing near the courtyard. This is precisely the kind of moment where I shine. Wow, it's true. This place is deserted. It's sunny and there's a bench. It's nice. I'm glad you like it. I brought them to the south side of the campus, near the faculty rooms and principal's office, where there's an unused smoking area. This spot was once a haven for smoking teachers, but has been unused since smoking was banned on campus. I cleaned off the dusty bench so we could sit. Though it's not as nice as the courtyard, it's quiet, perfect for someone like me. This is the best I could think of. Is it okay? It's great. Thanks, Maki-kun. Yumi, thank him too. Don't boss me around, thanks. We sat down and spread out our lunches. Wow, Maki-kun's rolled omelet looks delicious. Want to trade for my sausage? Sure, but it might not be to your taste. That's fine, Maki-kun. Did you make your lunch yourself? Sometimes. My mom is busy with work, so I do it when I have time. Amami-san looked surprised, but it's not complicated. With leftovers and pre-made sides, it's easy with a little effort. Yomi, we're supposed to be the girls, but Maki-kun's outdoing us. Don't just lump me and suddenly you're not wrong, though. Their parents likely handle most of their meals, so it's understandable. I also struggled at first, often searching for houters on my phone. This rolled omelet is so good. The sweet and salty flavor goes well with rice. Miharu-kun, can I have some too? Sure. I handed over another slice, and Asanagi's eyes widened. How is it? Yumi? It's great. This isn't just some amateur's cooking. I'm surprised. Not really. I just followed the recipe. Maybe I should learn to cook too. It could be fun. So Amami-san started a cooking conversation during lunch. As always, I quietly ate, but it didn't feel as awkward as I thought. In fact, it was a bit fun. We started talking passionately about cooking after exchanging side dishes. I was unsure about what to talk about when having lunch with Amami-san, but we decided on the safe topic of cooking, which was a relief. Oh, so Maki-kun can make sweets too. I was already impressed by your rolled omelet. But wow, I didn't expect it to be this overwhelming. Well, even though I can make them, they are not really anything special. Considering the cost-effectiveness, it's better to buy them, but on my days off, I don't want to leave home, and going to such shops alone as a man feels awkward. So, when my craving for sweets arises, making them becomes a viable option. Besides, I got lots of time. So what's the best sweet you've made recently? Maybe soufflé pancakes made only with eggs and bananas. Soufflé pancakes made only with eggs and bananas, repeating after me like a parrot. Amami-san was shaking in shock. Hey, Yumi, I blacked out for a moment, but what did Maki-kun just say? You keep it together. Your wound isn't that deep. The two of them looked at me in disbelief. Personally, I didn't think it was anything impressive. It's not that difficult. You can easily make it by following online videos or recipe sites. Well, Maki-kun, you say it's easy, but some people still fail even if they follow the recipe to a T, right, Yumi? You has an alchemist's talent for turning sugar into dark matter. Yumi, that's mean. Don't act like you didn't make that chocolate charcoal last Valentine's. At least call them charcoal cookies, idiot. It seems that neither of them are skilled in cooking. So, Asanagi is probably the type who enjoys eating. Oh, speaking of Valentine's Day, we just made those chocolates for ourselves, not for anyone else. Oh, right, you both went to an all-girls school. Their all-girls school is the most prestigious in the region, attended by students from wealthy families and high-achieving students. Since it's an integrated education system from elementary to high school, most students typically continue to the upper levels. No, I shouldn't imagine strange things. I'm not too different myself. I love sweets, and hearing you talk about it makes me want to eat Maki-kun's pancakes. If you want to eat them that much, I can make them for you, really. You'll make them? Amami-san beamed like a blooming flower, raising her arms in joy. For just 500 yen, you can make enough with toppings to be fully satisfied with the quantity and taste, though it doesn't compare to store-bought ones. But seeing her happy made me feel a little embarrassed. After lunch, Amami-san suggested washing the containers. Asanagi and I exchanged glances and nodded. While our classmates still gossiped, we enjoyed a peaceful lunch. Well then, I'll have to come over to your place again, Maki-kun. I can't today because I have another commitment, but how about Friday? I'm free that day. Amami-san was quick to try to make plans, but that wouldn't work for me. Friday I don't have any specific plans yet, but I usually hang out with Asanagi on Friday, though it was just a personal schedule I set. It wouldn't be an issue if our schedules didn't align. But still, sorry, but Fridays are a bit difficult for me. Oh really? No, any other day would be fine, but I kinda wanna keep that day open. If I said that, it would imply both Asanagi and I were unavailable, which might make Amami-san suspicious. To avoid raising any suspicions, I could make plans with Amami-san for this week and skip my usual time with Asanagi. That seemed like the better option. Asanagi would probably do the same in a similar situation. Oh, it's not like I have any specific plans. I just want to relax at home alone since my noisy mom will be back from work. Still, I wanted to prioritize my time with Asanagi on that day. I wanted to be there for Asanagi when she was tired from her usual engagements. As a different kind of friend than Amami-san, that's what I want to be. So if you could choose a different day, I'd really appreciate it. Is that okay? No problem. I'm the one asking for a favor, so I should adjust my schedule. Hey, Yumi, can we make plans with Maki-kun next week? Let's go together. Well, her reluctance was likely an act. Besides, I needed Asanagi to be there. Fine if you need me to go. Sure. Thanks, Yumi. It's settled then. We decided to meet sometime mid-next week. Amami-san was quick to make new connections like this. Oh, it's already this late to me. You have the 5th period, right? Oh, yeah. I got her change for PE, so I should go soon. Yikes. Sorry, Maki-kun, we gotta go. Okay, see you later. See you. Bye. After seeing them off, I sat on the bench alone. Then my phone vibrated in my pocket. It was a message from Asanagi. Asanagi idiot. You could have hung out with you. Mihara, sorry for being an idiot. But it's my choice who I hang out with. Asanagi, true. But you wanted to hang out with me that much. Mihara, not really. Asanagi, liar. Just admit it. You can't do without me, right? Admit it, you need me, don't you? Mihara, what? No way, idiot. Asanagi, the one who calls the other an idiot, is the real idiot. Idiot. Mihara, shut up, idiot. Go change already. Sensing this argument would go nowhere, I put my phone back in my pocket. Asanagi, calling me an idiot repeatedly. Next time we hang out, I won't go easy on her. Recently, Asanagi has been coming over almost every week. I wondered if she was managing her other friendships well. Friday is the day before the weekend, so it's a popular day for classmates to make plans. Hanging out with many people has its advantages, especially as we face several forced transitions into new communities in our future. Interacting with many people helps ease these transitions. I was worried about Asanagi's social life, but I had my weekends free for her visits, so she could come every week if she wanted. She seemed to enjoy it, so I was glad to have her over. But why are you staring at me? Asanagi noticed my gaze and tilted her head. She held a controller and fries, yet her beauty made it a picturesque scene. Did you fall for my cuteness? If you did, show some mercy in the game. No way. That was a cheek shot. Stop hiding and fight me. Try learning how to fight fair. I'm just worried about you. Worried? About what? I'm not getting fat like you. My weight doesn't matter. So, I decided to voice my concerns with Asanagi. I wanted her to interact with others more. Hearing this, she looked annoyed. But, you tired of me? And I no longer fun? Of course not. With you around, I what? I almost revealed my true feelings, but Asanagi caught on quickly and smirked. What were you about to say? With me around what? I gotcha. While she was distracted, I filled her game character with bullets. Cheap shot. Face me in a fair fight. There's no such thing as fairness in war. We resumed our game. Asanargi's skills had improved significantly since we started playing. Apparently, she's been practicing on her brother's console. She's now a full-fledged gamer. Thanks for worrying about me. I appreciate it. Sorry for worrying. My bad. But I understand. I've been hanging out here a lot. I'll be more discreet. So what should we eat next week? I'm craving a mixed okonomiyaki one. Were you listening? She brushed it off, but I knew she understood. Oh, by the way, that rom-com manga you lent me was great. The characters were so cute. Right. I found the final volume yesterday. Want to read it? Really? Let's read it together. Sure, but I haven't read it yet. All the more reason to read it together. Come on, let's go. You still need to finish these fries you ordered. You know, we paused our game and went to my room to read manga. My mom, an editor, filled my shelves to the brim with manga and light novels. So, we often read together when tired of games. Can I sit next to you? Sure. So we sat on my bed and started reading. Next page, please. Got it. We turned the pages slowly, enjoying the story together. I'm glad it ended happily. Yeah, happy endings are the best. We both enjoyed discussing our favorite series in detail. It was different from chatting with Amami-san or other classmates, whose relationship with Asanagi was only surface level. So she saw me as a comrade because we shared this deeper connection. That was fun. I kind of want to reread it now. Where's the first volume? Middle shelf. I'll read something else. We spent the rest of the time quietly reading in my room. During that time, we were quiet, without any particular conversation. But that didn't make things awkward. That's how Asanagi and I usually spent our time. Phew, I got so immersed in reading for a long time. Taking a break at a good stopping point, I realized that more than 2 hours had passed. It's annoying when time seems to pass by so quickly while reading or playing games. I could use some coffee to wake up Asanagi. You want some too? As I spoke, I noticed Asanagi, who had been occupying my bed and immersed in reading manga, was asleep. Oh, she's asleep. Peeking at her face, I noticed that Asanagi had dozed off with her mouth slightly open, accompanied by light snoring. That was fine, but she seems way too relaxed. This was supposed to be a proper teenage boy's room, after all. Geez, that snoring's not very ladylike. However, when we're together, even those aspects seem adorable. It's a curious thing. I'm feeling a bit sleepy too. As I gazed at Asanagi's sleeping face, I felt the drowsiness creeping up on me. Glancing at my phone, it was a little before 9. There's still about an hour until Asanagi usually leaves, so I could let her sleep a little longer. Setting my alarm, I decided to take a short nap on the floor with a cushion as my pillow, glancing sideways at Asanagi sleeping comfortably under the covers on my bed. I wanted to spend a little more of this pleasant, lazy night. However, that decision would soon come back to bite me. Wake up, Maggie. Wake up. A voice echoed in my foggy mind as I was enjoying the pleasant drowsiness. My alarm hadn't gone off yet, so it couldn't have been that long. Maybe Asanagi woke up first? In that case, I should at least see her off to the door. Hey, Maggie. Wake up already. Sorry, Asanagi, I got a little sleepy too. So that girl over there is Asanagi-san. At that moment, a dreadful feeling ran through my body. Oh no, this can't be. As I turned over, there was Asanagi still peacefully asleep. Despite that, but if someone was calling me then, that meant slowly I turned my gaze back to the front. I returned from work early and found that you've brought a girl into your room. Care to explain this? Mom standing there, arms crossed, was my mother, who shouldn't have been home from work at this time. It was my fault for being careless, but I never expected we'd get caught by my mom before Amami-san. Sorry, Asanagi. I was planning to wake you up when it was time. We really knocked out, didn't we? If it weren't for Miharu-san waking us up, we might have slept until morning. We had slept so deeply that by the time my mom woke us up, it was already past midnight. There's no specific curfew at Asanagi's house, and she always informs her parents beforehand if she'll be late, but this time was too much. I messed up. Yeah, okay. They were just reading manga together and then fell asleep. Yeah. It's not your daughter's fault. My dumb son's to blame. While Asanagi and I sat in the living room, my mother contacted Asanagi's parents. From the looks of it, she was apologizing profusely. And just like that, both my mother and Asanagi's parents found out that the friend we were hanging out with on weekends was actually a boy/girl from the same class. I had planned to introduce Asanagi to my mom someday, just not like this. Sorry for the wait, Yumi-chan. I got permission from your mom, so you can stay over tonight. It's late, so it's better this way. Besides, about before no. Never mind, Maki-kun is here too. But won't I be a bit of a bother besides? There's also Maki-kun for now. It seems Asanagi will be staying over tonight. But even if we're just friends, I'm a boy and Asanagi is a girl. Naturally, we have to be careful. It's fine. It's dangerous for a girl to walk alone on the streets at night, even if it's just a 20-30-minute walk from here, and my son is unreliable. Of course, I won't let Maki lay a finger on you, Yumi-chan, so you can rest assured about that. I wouldn't do something like that. I mean, even when we were sleeping, we were separated between the bed and the floor. Oh, come on. You say that, but weren't you secretly peeking at Asanagi's sleeping face and poking her cheeks? I didn't do anything like that. Asanagi and I aren't like that. I mean, please trust your own child a little. Trust you and end up in this mess. I'm sorry. I bowed my head to my mother. As for Asanagi, I did think her sleeping face was cute for a moment, but I didn't touch her anywhere, and I didn't have any ulterior motives. At least, that's what I thought. Still, I never expected you to befriend such a cute girl. You've been playing games alone every day, and you've never shown any signs of that. Maki, when did you start bringing Yumi-chan over? The way you say it, well, we've been hanging out here for about a month and a half. It's not exactly like I brought her over, but I'll take all the blame for now. I see. When I returned from work exhausted and noticed the strong smell of air freshener in the room, I never thought there would be such a reason. I had made up some excuse about the strong smell being from takeout, but the real reason was to cover up any traces of Asanagi being here. All because of one careless mistake. It all backfired. Anyway, since I got permission properly, Yumi-chan will stay over tonight. Tomorrow morning, she'll return home and apologize to her mother again. Okay? Asanagi, can't you trust my mom on this? I'll do as she says as long as you're here. And if I can get permission, I'll go directly to Asanagi's house to apologize. You really won't do anything, right? Of course not. What do you take me for? Well, yeah. If you had the nerve, we probably wouldn't have become friends in the first place, yeah. Asanagi hesitated for a moment, but she seemed to have reluctantly agreed, nodding her head. Got it. Well then, I'll be in your care for today. Yet nice to have you here, Yumi-chan. Now, since we don't want to get your uniform wrinkled, change into my sleepwear. Oh, but before that, you should take a bath. After you're done, let's chat about girl things. Maki, you go back to your room. Yeah, got it already. Even though she's angry, Mom is surprisingly lenient with Asanagi. Or maybe it's because she's so excited. It's hard to believe she just came home from work. We've never had friends over or been invited before, so it's probably a big deal for her. Of course, Asanagi's beauty plays a part too. I'll return to my room, but where will Asanagi sleep? We only have the sofa, and we can't treat a guest like that. We don't have extra futons or a guest room, so the only place to sleep is the living room. I'm fine with the sofa. No, Yumi-chan, it'll be too stiff, and you won't sleep well. But Asanagi glances at me. We only have 2 beds in the house, one in my room and one in Mom's. Since Mom will sleep in her own room, that leaves, I understand. I'll sleep on the sofa tonight, so Asanagi, you can use my bed. After you finish your bath, we'll trade. But then, Miharu will I can sleep on the floor just fine, so I'll be fine with a sofa, even though it's my house. Asanagi probably wants to sleep well, right? No, and I just washed his futon recently, so it's not dirty. At least today. It seems our weekend will continue a little longer. As Asanagi goes to take a bath, I'm promptly sent back to my room by Mom, who was now quite cheerful. Thus, for today, my weekend with Asanagi would continue a little longer. With Asanagi heading to take a bath, I was quickly ushered into my room by Mom. I sat on the bed, hugging my knees, and stared absent-mindedly. I never thought Asanagi would be staying over in my room. It's not unusual for friends to gather at someone's house and stay up all night playing or talking, but that's usually among same-gender groups. When it comes to mixed-gender groups, things like this should usually be avoided, even if two people were in a relationship, especially for a high school first-year student like me. As for now, my room's door is closed, and I'm listening to music with headphones, so I can't hear what's going on outside. I wanted to take a bath too, but my mom has prohibited me from doing so. She was muttering something about saving the bath water for Yumi-chan, but does she really think I would do something like that? A hazy image of Asanagi behind the steam floated into my mind. No, what am I thinking? I quickly pushed away the indecent thoughts and turned up the volume on my headphones. The song playing was from a romance drama that had recently become popular on TV. It was a track by a rock band I like, but lately they've been focusing more on themes of love and friendship, and I hadn't been replaying their songs as obsessively as I used to. Even when I hear about love and bonds from the perspective of someone who's alone, I don't really understand it. Even though Asanagi is just a friend, or at least she should be conceding to the rhythm of the music, and reading my current favorite manga, my thoughts inevitably drift back to the friend I've just made. We played games together, ate junk food that's undoubtedly unhealthy, and exchanged ridiculous jokes. She's a girl who has become friends with me, someone who struggles with communication. I definitely see Asanagi as a friend, and I hope to continue building a good relationship with her. I also hope she feels the same way. But even though I don't usually think about it, situations like this one force me to confront it whether I want her or not. Asanagi Yumi is a girl. She's excellent in academics, has impeccable behavior, and possesses a striking appearance, making her the second cutest girl in class, much like Amami. And now, this girl is in my house about to take a bath, change into pajamas, and sleep in my room, on my bed. As I think about it, my heart starts beating faster and faster. Just a moment ago, when I peeked at her sleeping face, I hadn't been the least bit disturbed. It's Asanagi, right? I mean, I do think she's pretty, but she acts all prim and proper, and in reality, she snores with her mouth open and drools like an old man, right? Then why am I only remembering the parts that make her seem so feminine and getting all flustered over it? Startled by the whispering voice near my ear, I almost jumped up in surprise. Looking to the side, I saw Asanagi trying to hold back her laughter at my pathetic reaction. Come on, I just startled you a bit. You jumped like one of those wind-up frogs from the 100-yen shop. Asanagi, could you at least knock next time? I did knock like a bunch of times, but you were blasting music through your headphones, so you didn't hear it. Usually, even with headphones on, I'd notice if someone was knocking. But it seems I was too caught up in my swirling thoughts to pay attention. Oh, right. About sleepwear, I didn't quite fit in your mom's, so I borrowed one of your sweatshirts. Sorry about that. Oh, well, it's fine. I have several similar ones in different colors. Glad to hear that. It's so cozy and warm. Maybe I'll get one for myself next time. Asanagi was wearing my navy sweatshirt, both top and bottom. The size is larger and loose-fitting, which is how I usually spend my weekends in these clothes. She said that she couldn't fit in Mom's, but our heights aren't that different in the first place. Well, I'll choose not to delve into that. Right now, it's hard to tell because of the oversized sweatshirt, but Asanagi has a fairly substantial bust as well. I'm thinking about unnecessary things again. Anyway, I'll sleep in the living room. Feel free to use the bed however you like. Wait a sec. Ugh. I was trying to be considerate and leave the room, but Asanagi grabbed the collar of my shirt, stopping me. What is it? I was just asleep and then took a shower, so I'm completely wide awake now. Let's just talk for a little bit. Mom told me to avoid being in the same space with you as much as possible. A little bit is fine. Besides, if you tried to attack me, I'd scream really loud. I'm not gonna attack you. My mom's a woman of her word, so if she hears even a joke about Asanagi shouting, it wouldn't end with just a scolding. Come on, Mihara, over here. You can sit next to me. You know this is my bed. Right for now, it's my bed. Come on, over here." As if beckoning a dog, Asanagi patted the space next to her, not even noticing that I'm trying to be considerate seriously. Well, better than her shouting. Guess I don't have much choice. I'm worried about Mom noticing, but since she's apparently taking a bath right now, maybe 15 minutes or so should be fine. I sat beside Asanagi, just close enough that our shoulders barely touched. "Har never thought I'd be crashing at your place, Mihara. Bringing the cute girl over. Mihara, you're such a sneaky guy." "Well, it was because you fell asleep first, Asanagi. Guess I'm at fault, too, for dozing off." "Fair point. I was too careless for a girl. I admit that." Asanagi let out a soft, self-deprecating laugh, and a faint citrusy scent wafted from her. "I'm pretty sure I use the same shampoo, but it's never smelled like this on me. Hey, Mihara. Yeah, we're bad kids, aren't we? Now, we were definitely acting like delinquents. If word got out about this in our class, Asanagi's reputation would surely tank. Even Amami-san would be greatly disappointed in her. Hey, Asanagi, I've been thinking you wanna come clean to you about this." "Now, have you been thinking the same?" "I thought about it a bit in the bath. We've reached our limit, haven't we?" This incident made it clear. No matter how careful we are, Amami-san will eventually find out. She's not that oblivious. It's better to apologize before getting caught. Since I suggested keeping this relationship a secret, even if it's awkward at first, maybe we can clear the air sooner. I'll find the right time to talk to you soon, so you just act normal, Mihara. Got it. I'll leave it to you then. I've promised to hang out with Amami-san on Wednesday, so I'll prepare to apologize then. If she hates me for it and spreads the story around the class, I'll accept the consequences. It's my own doing." "All right, that's settled. So what should we talk about now?" "It's a rare opportunity, so how about something classic like romance story? And she definitely brought that up on purpose. There's no way I'd have any stories like that. And the only ones I have in the drawer represent fresh memories with a Asanagi. Damn it, Mom should be getting out soon, so I'm gonna go to bed now." "You're no fun." "Well, I'll let you off for today. Thanks a lot." Asanagi is still Asanagi, completely unreserved, but also an easygoing friend. The distress I felt earlier must have been a misunderstanding. "Oh, right. Hey, Mihara, one last thing. Good night, Mihara." Hee, saying it like that feels a bit embarrassing, doesn't it? "Oh, gee, good night." After parting with Asanagi, I immediately jumped onto the living room sofa where I'd be sleeping tonight, wrapped myself in a blanket like a caterpillar, and closed my eyes. It was just for a bit, but I thought she looked pretty cute there. The image of Asanagi's shy, embarrassed smile floated into my mind. She can make a face like that too. Thanks to Asanagi, it seemed I wouldn't be getting much sleep tonight. Despite feeling anxious and unable to sleep well that night, the next day's plans wouldn't wait for me. I was heading to Asanagi's house early Saturday morning with her. "Sorry, Mihara. My mom insisted on meeting you." "No, it's better to get it over with. I knew I'd have to go eventually." According to Asanagi, when she told her mom early in the morning that she was coming home, "I'd like to talk to that boy too, so bring him along." Thus, my visit was explicitly requested by her mother. Honestly, that's kind of intimidating. "All right, we're here. This is my house." After taking a railroad crossing on a path I usually never walk, we soon arrived at the Asanagi residence. Just like she said, it was an ordinary single-family home, a two-story wooden house in a residential area with a spacious yard that included a vegetable garden where fresh red cherry tomatoes were growing. Her mom must have been taking care of it. After ringing the doorbell and waiting for a moment, we heard the sound of slippers dragging across the floor, and Asanagi's mother peeked out. "I'm home. Welcome home, Yumi. And welcome, Mihara-kun. And nice to meet you. I'm Mihara Maki. Thank you for being so polite. I'm Asanagi Sora, the mother, unfortunately, of this delinquent daughter here." Her smile was gentle, but it didn't reach her eyes like the eyes that Asanagi sometimes showed me. She was incredibly beautiful, not looking old enough to have a high school daughter, and exuded a calm demeanor. Yet I really shouldn't get on her bad side. My instincts told me so. I never imagined that my daughter's first time coming home late would be with a classmate boy instead of you-chan. I was really surprised when I got a call from your mother, Miharu-kun. I'm really sorry. I meant to wake her up, but I guess I was so tired myself that I ended up falling asleep too. Oh, it's not your fault at all, Miharu-kun. The one to blame is my daughter, who slept so soundly and defenselessly in a boy's room. Right, Yumi? Come on. I already apologized for that yesterday. It's embarrassing if you're gonna lecture me here in front of other people. Just because you apologized yesterday doesn't mean you're off the hook. It's good that Maki-kun and Masaki-san are such nice people. But what would you have done if they weren't? THS exactly. That's why Sora-san was still scolding her now. It was so logical that neither Asanagi nor I could argue back. There had been no curfew before because Asanagi had always behaved responsibly. Sora-san trusted her because of that. What happened this time was enough to potentially ruin that trust. Luckily, my mom came home last night, so nothing serious happened. But if we had slept through until morning, it would have looked pretty bad. This wasn't something that could just be brushed off. Yumi, I'm not saying you can't have fun. Just make sure you do what you need to and don't make us worry. Understand? Nah, I'm sorry, Mom. I'll definitely be more careful next time. I'll be more careful too. Asanagi and I both bowed our heads to Sora-san. This time we really had to reflect. We're still just high schoolers. We need to be more careful, all right. There's still more I'd like to say, but we'll discuss that once we are inside the house. Now, Miharu-kun, please come in. Wine S. Excuse the intrusion. I changed into guest slippers and followed them into the living room. It looked like Sora-san was just about to start breakfast, as the table was set with toast, yogurt, and colorful seasonal fruits. Yumi, what do you want for breakfast? I'd also prepared some for Miharu-kun, just in case. I already had breakfast at Miharu's, so I'll just have some fruit. What about you, Miharu? I'll have the same. Following Sora-san's lead, I took a seat in the living room. I ended up sitting across from Sora-san, with Asanagi next to me. Where's brother? Riku was up late with something, so he should still be sleeping. I've let him know that we have a guest, so he probably won't come downstairs. Well, it can't be helped then. The Asanagi family consists of 4 members: Sora, Asanagi, Riku, and their father. It seems that her father was at work today. I had planned to greet her older brother as well, but it looks like we'll have to save that for some other time. Oh, Mom, about what happened at Yu's house today, it has nothing to do with the Amami family, so don't worry about it. Well, if Masaki-sen's call had come 30 minutes later, I might have contacted them, though. It was a close call in that sense too. I should express my gratitude to Mom again. More importantly, Miharu-kun. So, how did you and Yumi become friends? I've been asking her, but she won't tell me because it's none of Mom's business. Mom, stop it, Miharu, don't say anything either. See, it's always like this. Since this is the first boyfriend my daughter has brought home, as her mother, I'm really curious about how you got close, aren't I? First boyfriend. Amami-san apparently visits here frequently, but it seems like I'm apparently the first male friend she's had. Asanagi attended an all-girls school until junior high, so it makes sense, but being told I'm the first makes me feel strange again. That's irrelevant, so it's fine. Don't mind my mom, she just talks too much sometimes. Come have some peaches. They are sweet and delicious. Oh, how sweet of you to peel it yourself despite being so clumsy. I was worried because you haven't brought friends home much lately, but it seems Yumi is surprisingly considerate. This girl Tilder, why you're the one making it look like that. Seriously, Mom, you're so embarrassing. Miharu-kun, please take care of Yumi from now on. Despite being like this, she's actually very honest and a good person at heart. Oh, and if you'd like, you could stay over here next time. That way, I can keep an eye on things and you'd be more at ease. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. Geez. Just shut up already. Miharu, you have my permission to sew my mom's mouth shut. Whoa, that's going a bit too far. It's been quite lively this morning, but since I usually eat alone, I don't mind this kinder atmosphere. Afterwards, despite struggling as a go-between between Sora-san, who was eager to hear more, and Asanagi, who was being secretive, I found myself surprisingly enjoying the atmosphere. The visit to the Asanagi house including the discussion about staying over, ended smoothly without any major issues. However, starting the following week, there was a subtle change in the dynamic between Asanagi and I. "Good morning, Yumi." That makes it the second time today. "Well, good morning, you. What's up? You seem really happy today." "A tilde. What do you mean?" "You already know tilde. You know that thing." Amami-san winked at me secretly. "Today is Wednesday, yes, as we had previously agreed. It's the day Amami-san is coming over to my house." It had already been a week since that incident, and to be honest, I wished we could have postponed it by another week. However, there was no way I could say that to Amami-san, so in the end it went as scheduled, and I was also compelled to report this matter to my mom. After what happened with Asanagi, Mom made me promise that I would always inform her whenever I invited a girl over. Naturally, the same applies when I hang out with Asanagi in the future. I still vividly remember Mom's reaction when I told her about it. That woman, she actually fell out of her chair. Yuyumi-chan wasn't enough for you, and now even her best friend, a girlar, my son, my shy son, has somehow turned into a harem protagonist. What kind of thing is that to say about your own son? Even though I explained that Amami-san and Asanagi were just classmates and friends, my mom kept insisting that I'd introduce Amami-san as well. You-chan, are you going somewhere with Asanagi again? Let me come too. I'm sorry, Nanake, but not this time. We are planning to spend the day together, just the two of us. Okay, well, that's how it is. Niner, by the way, you know what will happen if you tag along, right? Yes. It seems that after the previous incident, Nitter-san has become quite obedient as expected. Mihara, is Nitter-san okay? Asanagi, I don't know, but I'll make sure to give her a firm reminder by lunchtime. Mihara understood. Well, see you again after school. Asanagi, yeah, understood. Oh, by the way, I'm looking forward to your homemade sweets too. Mihara, they are not really anything special. Asanagi, what? Are you trying to pick a fight with me and you, who aren't very good at housework? Mihara, oh, right. Asanagi, you jerk. As usual, we exchanged words discreetly, and I glanced over at Asanagi. Normally, she would respond with a subtle wave or some other gesture to make sure no one noticed, but today, since the start of this week, she has been avoiding making eye contact more often. It's the same sometimes when we are close during class changes, and she doesn't even nod in acknowledgement. She acts the same as usual when we text, so I don't think she dislikes me. After school, I headed home immediately and began prepping the ingredients. Soon after, Asanagi arrived with Amami-san in tow. He, looking forward to today. Maki-kun, why yeah, looking forward to it. And you too, Asanagi said. Yeah. Today I'm just here to look after her, so don't mind me. It felt like we were strangers in public again, but I was unsure on what the right move was. Especially with Amami-san as a guest today, it feels so awkward. Pretending not to be close, when we actually are, feels messed up. Geez, both Yumi and Maki-kun are too stiff. Especially you, Yumi. They're friends now, so talk like normal. No, it's only you who are friends. I'm more like a friend of a friend, and that's exactly why you two should get along. All right, both of you shake hands. It's a symbol of your friendship. We've shaken hands before, and she's even patted my head, so why do I feel so tense now? As Asanagi and I each looked at our hands. All right, both of you, say nice to meet you. Well, since our princess is saying that, let's just go with it for now. Why, yeah, that's right. Saying that, I gently shook Asanagi's right hand. As always, her hand feels smooth and silky. Sora-san's, so particular about beauty, maybe Asanagi naturally ended up this way by following her example. In contrast, my own hands are rough and somewhat callous due to daily chores, so the difference is quite striking when we touch. Well, I'll be cooking so you two can sit and watch TV while you wait. I'd really like to help, but both Asanagi and I are not very useful in the kitchen. Well, it can't be helped. Same here. Let's just stay quiet and do as Mihara-kun said. Leaving Amami-san to Asanagi, I decided to focus on cooking. That said, it wasn't anything grand. As mentioned when we had lunch together the other day, it's souffle pancakes made with just eggs and bananas. The recipe isn't difficult. First, Separate the eggs into egg yolks and egg whites, then with the whites until they become fluffy and form meringue. Next, combine this with a banana puree and the egg yolks. Finally, just cook the mixture in a frying pan. Of course, there are some tips to making the batter, such as not overmixing when combining the meringue and banana. However, with practice, you'll naturally get the hang of it. Okay, and we just have to wait for them to cook, huh? What are you two doing? As I prepared coffee to go along with the pancakes, I noticed both of them fiddling with something. Oh, sorry. We borrowed your consolar, you. It's a bit unfair to surprise me like that. Our tilde in a kill or be killed scenario, there's no tilde such thing as unfair or fair. On the battlefield, it's those who look away tilde who get taken out. You need to understand that tilde it seems that both of them enjoyed my game. They were playing the competitive game that Asanagi and I usually play together. Honestly, Asanagi is kinda ruthless for doing that. To a beginner I can't really say anything, since I do the same to Asanagi in the game, but it's still quite childish. Hey, Yumi, aren't you really good? How do you keep hitting everything? I've been using my brother's console in his room lately. All right. This is my win. Let's go. The snacks seem ready. Let's have them while they are still warm. Yumi tilde har well. It's fine if we play a bit more after we eat. I can teach you if you want. Really? Then, please, teach me, Master. Master W. Well, I'm looking forward to it too. I had thought she wouldn't be interested in this sort of thing, but judging by her expression while playing, it seems like Amami-san might actually get hooked on it. If we're gonna play games right after having the snacks, though, I plan to be careful about the time. I should probably tell Mom they might stay longer today. We decided to take a break from the game and have the pancakes while they are still fresh. Normally, I'm more casual about it, but since it's for Amami-san and Asanagi, I'd say this batch turned out the best I've made so far. Freshly made and fluffy. The extra effort I put into whipping the egg whites really paid off. I divided it into 3 portions and served it to the 2 of them first. Well, what is this? It's so fluffy it's a bit less sweet, but it really feels like you're eating a banana. Yumi, this is amazing, right? Yeah, this is delicious. This has about a third of the calories compared to the usual ones made with regular ingredients, so feel free to use plenty of butter or syrup without feeling too guilty. I can add more, but do you two want some? Yes, please. Me too. It seems they both liked it. Amami-san had a happy smile, while Asanagi let out a hmkh as she enjoyed it. It's not a bad feeling, being appreciated like this. Miharu-kun, it's all gone now. I have tilde the pancakes that Amami-san had timidly asked for were already completely gone. I prepared extra ingredients today, so I can make more. Want seconds? Really? Then please. And Asanagi-san, I'll have more too. Naturally, Asanari's plate was also completely clean. But it, both of you. Oh, Miharu-kun, since we're here, can I watch you make them? I'd like to try making them at home next time. You, why don't you just ask your mom to make them for you? We just end up making charcoal pancakes again. Well, if I get proper instruction, I can manage. Right, Miharu-kun? You think so too, don't you? Well, as long as you measure the time and don't miss the window for flipping, it should be okay. Then I'll watch too. So, this time I'll be making the pancakes with Amami-san and Asanagi on either side of me. Pour it into a pan with non-stick paper, cover it, and cook for 5 minutes. After that, you'll need to judge by the rise of the batter. When the batter is no longer raw and is fluffy, that's the signal. Then you just fold it in half. Oh, really? It's simple. There are various recipes available online, so you can refer to those if you're unsure. Also, as long as you follow the measurements and time closely, it should turn out well, even if it gets a bit burnt. What? If you want to talk about burnt matter or charcoal, you can just say it. No, that's not what I meant, taking advantage of the fact that Amami-san can't see from her position. Asanagi pinches my side sharply. It seems she's being careful not to make it too painful, as she doesn't want Amami-san to notice. I really hope she gets that I wasn't trying to insult her. After finishing the second helping, the 3 of us returned to playing the game. Watch this, Yumi. With Maki-kun's advice, I'll definitely turn the tables this time. You think a cute avatar's banner save you? I'll blow that pretty face off the map. In the character creation and equipment mode, Amami-san has completely gone for a cute-looking character and gear, while on the other hand, Asanagi is all about aggressive attacks with defense being a secondary concern. In gameplay, differences in character stats due to experience levels also play a role, so to bridge that gap, improving one's playing skills is the only way. Right first, don't panic when you see the enemy. Aim carefully instead of blindly firing. Fight in places where you have the advantage. Like high ground or behind cover, there's a lot more, but let's start with that. Got it. As they continued their match, I gave them advice little by little while sitting beside Amami-san, and the results were immediate. Stick to the basics, take your time to aim, and now… Oh, I did it. I got my first kill against Yumi. Just 10 minutes and she's already getting the hang of it. Asanagi had indeed become quite skilled at the game through practice at home and by playing with me on weekends. The impressive gameplay that Amami-san demonstrated earlier, though brief, seemed to surpass even what I usually do. She barely plays games like this, but maybe she's just got the talent. Haha, I was just a bit careless just now, okay? I totally wasn't trying that time, okay? Hee hee, if that's the case, then I'll beat the serious Yumi next time. After that, there was no need to hand out further advice, so I just watched the two of them compete. Damn it, you little… Here, over here, Amami-chan. Try and catch me, Tilder. You're seriously… Although they seemed disappointed, the intensity of their battles was unexpected. After about an hour of playing, it was time to call it quits. Although they seemed eager to continue, it couldn't be helped that they couldn't stay too late. Especially for me, considering what happened a few days ago, I had to be extra careful. I only won 3 times. After that, it's kind of frustrating. The fact that you can win against someone like me who's been playing a fair bit is actually pretty surprising. As Asanagi said, games that require playing skills are especially difficult for beginners who are not used to them. I gave her advice, sure, but for someone with barely any experience, that's impressive. Well then, Maki-kun, let's play together again sometime. Yeah, sure. See you next time. I hoped it would end here, but knowing them, there might be a next time. You mean what's wrong? Let's hurry up and go. Tilda, sorry, I forgot something. I'll catch up quickly, so you… Please go ahead. I'll help look if you forgot something. It's okay. I remember where I left it. You're already wearing your shoes, so just go ahead. Are you sure? Well, then I'll go ahead. In a somewhat forceful manner, Asanagi pushed Amami-san out of the entrance. Thanks for your hard work, Asanagi. And you too, Mihara. And so, for the first time today, it was just Asanagi and me alone. I really don't know what to say. That girl can do just about anything. The game, I definitely thought she was skilled. But if it's just that, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that simple. Today's just one example. But every time she plays, you gets better and better. She absorbs everything she likes in no time, and before you know it, Asanagi… Sorry, I guess I went on a bit of a rant there. Well, she's just one of those people who's a bundle of talent, so it's only natural to feel this way sometimes. Yeah, I can kinder understand that. There are people in this world who, like Amami, are exceptionally skilled at picking things up quickly. Whether it's studying or sports, there are individuals who can master knowledge or skills that others take dozens of hours to acquire in no time at all. Amami is a girl who embodies this ability. She handles everything with ease and is liked by everyone. Even though she is a dear friend whom Asanagi loves, having her always by her side might lead to moments of fleeting jealousy, even if just a little. So I'd be happy if you could understand a bit of the struggles I go through being Yu's friend sometimes. Well then, Mihara, I had a great time today. Yeah, you're welcome. See you. Yeah, see you. Asanagi had been her usual cheerful self until the very end. But just for a moment, she looked lonely. Was that just my imagination? Okonomiyaki, a Japanese street food, translates to grilled as you like it or cook what you like. It's a savory pancake made by cooking seasoned flour, cabbage, and various toppings in a pan. The dish is customizable and can include meat, seafood, and vegetables like octopus, kimchi, or pork. Okonomiyaki is often topped with okonomiyaki sauce, Japanese mayo, pickled ginger, katsuobushi, and aonori. Right arrow curving left. Chapter 4. Their cultural festival. As the lingering summer heat faded away and mid-October approached, bringing with it a hint of a chill in the air, preparations for one of my least favorite school events, the cultural festival, were about to begin. Listen up, as you all know, the cultural festival is scheduled to coincide with next month's holiday. Today, we are going to decide on the committee members for the event. Groans echoed throughout the classroom. While enjoying the festival was fun, preparing for it was an absolute hassle. For someone like me, who couldn't even enjoy the festival since I was a loner, this event is nothing but extra trouble. We need one boy and one girl from each class to participate in the student council-led meetings. So then, who wants to volunteer? Hajiwara-sensei scanned the room, but, naturally, no one raised their hand. No one, as I expected. I've already prepared a lottery box. Boys will draw from the box on the right, and girls from the box on the left. If you pull the winning ticket, well,